Picked him up. He was high as a kite.
Your son?
Yes. And his father couldn't even look us straight in the eye and talk to us. He was so messed up.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Deborah Hartzell is suing Sean Hansel and his ex-wife, Mandy, for an unpaid loan.
Order. All rise.
Now it's case number 415 on the calendar, the matter of Hartzell versus Hansel.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Miss Hartzell, Miss Hansel used to be your daughter-in-law. She was married to your son. They have 2 children.
Yes.
They've been divorced since when? What year?
2005.
And since 2005, the 2 children, 2 boys, correct? Have lived with you?
Yes.
Until recently?
They both still reside with me.
They are back with you, both?
Yes.
Okay, we'll get to that in a second. But they both resided with you, 2005, and I assume your son was under a support order.
Yes.
What kind of work does he do?
He's a self-employed tree trimmer.
He has his own company?
Yes.
Does he have any employees? This gentleman also at one time, before or after, was married to Miss Hansel. You and Miss Hansel were divorced.
Correct.
And you have no children together?
We do.
How many?
We have 2 current, and she's currently pregnant with my child.
How old are the 2 children that you have?
10 and 8.
So that was after the divorce?
Yes.
Correct.
Okay. At some point, according to your complaint, Mr. Hansel ran into some difficulty with his mortgage. And you called Mrs. Hartzell.
No.
Did you contact her?
I contacted her son.
You contacted her son.
Correct.
At this point, how far behind in his child support is he for the 2 boys?
$7,126.
Does he pay anything?
She does.
He doesn't pay anything.
The way he explained it to me, Your Honor, is that she takes care of his
you
child
can't.
support.
So far, he's $7,000 in arrears. And how much is the support order?
$333.
A week, a month?
A month, I'm sorry.
When was the last time you received a support payment from the plaintiff's son?
In December,
Prior to that?
October.
What happened to November?
That's when this money came about. I had contacted her son in regards to the child support. I was in need of the money right then, and I had asked him if child support payment had been made yet, and that's when he had told me. At that point, I was informed that...
No, you can't say
Okay.
informed. You told him...
I told him
You
that-
told him that you were in need of money and he owed you money.
Correct.
Well, he owed his children money, but
Correct.
you were taking care of his children. Certainly, he's not supporting his children on $300 a month. You understand that?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. What was the next thing that happened?
I met with him.
And?
He gave me $400. He made a phone call, had left her a message saying, if you haven't mailed child support yet, don't, because Sean needs the money right now. I'm giving it to him.
$400.
Correct. And at that point, he had told me he was finishing up.
Don't tell me what he told
Okay,
you.
at that point, he was finishing up a tree job, and I was supposed to get $1,100 within 2 days of that.
What happened next?
He didn't get the money, and at that point, I was told to contact his mother.
Did you contact his mother?
Yes, I did.
Now I want you to tell me the conversation that you had with Miss Hartzell, and tell me when that conversation took place.
Okay. It would have been one of the last days in October or the first day in November.
Did you call her or did she call you?
I believe she contacted Mandy, and then I called her.
And I would like you to tell me what you said to her and what she said to you.
I told her at that point that I had 2 days to come up with just under $1,100 to what I needed, and to let her know we would go from there. Within a day or so of the first conversation, we came up with it was just under $1,100. So she was going to give me $1,100. We were on our way to her place of employment to pick up the money. And at that point, I actually received a phone call from the person I was buying the home from, telling us that forget about it. If I go to make the deposit, they're not going to accept the money. So when I got there, I explained to her the situation.
Did he tell you that there was a problem with the house?
No.
When you met with him?
Not at that point.
When did he tell you that there was a problem with the house?
2 days later, when I was going to give him the next check and deposit it into the landlord's account at the bank.
How many checks did you give him?
2.
What were the denominations?
The first one was $1,000, and the second one was $1,100 on November 3rd and 5th.
So you gave him the $1,000.
Yes, ma'am.
And then $1,100 the next day. So it was really $2,100.
Correct.
And did he cash those checks for $2,100?
He
Or
cashed the first one. The second one, I actually deposited it into his landlord's account at the landlord's bank.
You mean where you were going to buy?
Correct.
What happened with that money?
It went and paid the house payment, and then the first
Just a
house,
second. It paid a house. Did you move into that house?
we had been in the house already.
So that you in total $2,100.
She didn't lend me anything. This was a child support agreement.
Now I want you to tell me the child support agreement.
Okay.
I want to hear the child support agreement
Okay.
with her.
No problem. Every penny she gave me, when we got our income taxes, we were supposed to take that dollar amount and mail it into the child support office so her son got credit for making that payment, and it would come off his back child support.
Did you do that?
Tax time isn't here yet.
Just a second. Is that the arrangement you made with her?
For the...
No. Look at me.
Yes.
Is that the arrangement you made with her?
Yes, ma'am. For the $1,100 it was. For the... What happened was the first $1,000 she gave me, like I said, on the day that I showed up, and I told her that I can't make the house payment. They told me it's too late. She gave me the $1,000 because I would need the money to move in somewhere else anyway, okay? Later that day, the landlord called me and said, hey, if you can get the money in today, we'll go ahead and do that. At that point, I'd already deposited the check. That's when I contacted Debbie, and I said, hey, if you can put the money into their account to cover the house payment, when this check clears, I'll give you that part back.
Did you give it back to her?
I did not, because
Why?
with a conversation she had had with Mandy to go ahead and use the other $1,000 towards paying other bills to get it caught up, because it was going to be a month before I saw a paycheck. And that total amount of $2,100 was going to be mailed into child support to come off the 70
Money. How old is your son?
37.
Time that he was not a deadbeat and took care of his own children. It's time.
He's only in arrears because he was in prison for 5 years.
What does he get? What do
He's
you get a
paid
reward
since
for that?
then.
What do you get a reward for that? Then he should have been paid twice as much.
He pays child support plus only $25 towards arrearage, so it's hard to get it paid down.
You make children, you're supposed to take care of them. And you don't get a break when you're in jail. You're in jail because you did something yourself. It's not as if you got a disease, if you had serious surgery, you couldn't work. You did something wrong. Your children still had to eat, right?
Right.
When he was in jail, did she get any child support at all?
I did help her very much, and I also took the two boys quite often.
Well, that doesn't make any difference. Okay. Something happened recently that sparked something that I want to go back and address. There came a time when one of your grandsons had a disciplinary incident with his mother and his stepfather. And from what I gather, he used your house as a safe haven. Is that right?
That's not right.
Well, tell me what happened.
He wanted to live with his father, and it was agreed upon by the two of them, supposedly. And on Christmas vacation, he stayed with his father the entire time.
It's good. He can stay with his father for Christmas.
And I had nothing else to do. He can walk home from school.
No, to your son's house. Who picked him up? Did you ever go to school to pick him up?
No.
Why did you put that in here?
She not only went to school and picked him up, she signed him out early.
She's not even on the list.
We had to go at the end of Christmas vacation with the police to retrieve Jimmy. At the end of...
That's very easy for me to find out. Did you go to school to pick up your grandson?
The one day when I signed him out, yes. The day I signed him out before Christmas, or no, after Christmas.
Just a
After
second.
Christmas.
Did he go back to his mother's?
He told me
Just a
his
second.
mother
Did he go
gave-
back to his mother's?
Yes, I believe so.
As of Friday, he came back
As of
home
last
finally.
Friday. Well, that's January. What happened at his father's?
Went over there, and when I picked him up, he was high as a kite.
Your son?
Yes.
Yep.
And his father couldn't even look us straight in the eye and talk to us. He was so messed up.
Did you ever have a discussion with the defendants with regard to taking the amount of money that you gave them off child support by using their tax returns? So far, you've lied to me once. Don't do it again.
No,
so far,
I
you
hear-
lied to me once.
Oh, I
Don't
hear
do
you.
it again.
We had one conversation, not about the taxes. That was
What?
never...
Just a second. I want you to tell me the one conversation that you had with regard to the money and
Okay.
child support.
On the following Monday, after they borrowed the two checks from me, through to go down to the courthouse, offered to me by her so that she could have the arrearage reduced in that amount.
Oh, good. Now we're done.
And Monday
I-
she wouldn't answer the phone.
This is it. I am dismissing her case without prejudice and holding any fees. Do you understand? I expect you for you to go down to child support and reduce the child support by $2,100. Do you understand?
I went to do that, and they said with the check not being wrote to me, I can't do it. That's why we agreed
Just a
that when we
second.
got the taxes,
Just
we
a
would
second.
do it then.
Is that because you at some point were on welfare?
No, I've never been on welfare.
Well, then why can't you do that? It's
the
your
check
money.
wasn't in my name to prove that
It doesn't
was
make any
given to me.
difference.
I didn't mean to interrupt, but the way they explained it to us is that to go down and make an agreement like that, they won't accept it unless it actually goes through the child support office. The payment has to go through there.
Yeah.
So we had no problem with when we got our money sending it through.
Fine. So that you would have no problem sending in the child support payments for he's supposed to pay how much money?
He's
a
supposed
month?
to pay $333 a month.
$333. So for the next 7 months, you pay the child support. Do we have an agreement?
Well, we're a month.
No. Do we have an agreement?
Judge Judy continues in a...
The shed was damaged, and you want $4,000. Are you out of your mind? Do you hear these people? Are you crazy? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Deborah Hartzell says Sean Hansel and ex-wife Mandy Hansel owe for a loan.
For the next 7 months, you pay the child support. Do we have an agreement?
Well, we're a month.
No. Do we have an agreement? Unless you send that money in to be credited to him for the next 7 months, he doesn't owe any child support.
That's fine.
Because you owe her, and that was the agreement.
I understand. Yeah.
And that was the agreement.
That's fine.
Perfect. We're done here.
Thank you, Judge.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
They are not a part of the children's life, and anytime they are,
That's fair. Works good for me.
you know, his son's doing drugs with my child, and
That the two boys could have a stable home and
not a very good environment for any child to be in when they're around them.
stay in a school for at least 1 year.
It's just that type of family. They're evil and twisted.
I hope for all my grandchildren's and son's sake.
One day my son wakes up and realizes what kind of person his father is.
And now the next case.
Forward.
Diana Cruz is suing her former neighbor, LaDonna Latham, for a damaged storage shed and damaged belongings.
Miss Cruz, your mother owned 2 pieces of property. Houses were on both of those pieces of property. She died.
Yes, ma'am.
One of the houses was sold to the defendant, the house right next door to where your mother had lived. Did you live with your mother at the end of her life? If the answer is either yes or no. Did you live with your mother for the end of her life?
No,
Well, why don't you just answer me and say, correct, I didn't live with my mother.
I didn't live with my mother.
That's the answer. When was the last time you lived in that house?
I moved out in August of 2016.
Where did you live in June of 2016?
Lived in the same town, but I had rented a room from a friend.
Who else lived with her in the house?
It would be myself and my daughter, Natasha.
When?
We lived there with her until she went into the rest home in December of 2014.
So the last time you stayed in the house was in 2014.
No, ma'am. I was in the house until August of 2016.
Well, that's what I'm asking. You said you rented a room someplace.
In August of 2016 is when I moved out of the residence that I used to live with my mother and rented a room. I could no longer stay in the house after my mother had passed away.
Why?
Just memories.
Was the house... Just to answer the
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
All right.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
I found out that my daughter, who has a drug problem, sold my storage shed to LaDonna for $75. That's what you wrote?
Yes.
Did you ever get your $75 back?
No.
You
Did
didn't.
you didn't pay it?
Yes, I did,
Just,
Your Honor.
just a second.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Diana Cruz says former neighbor LaDonna Latham owes for damage to a storage shed and property damage. LaDonna is countersuing for harassment and costs associated with the shed.
So the last time you stayed in the house was in 2014.
In August of 2016 is when I moved out of the residence that I used to live with my mother and rented a room. I could no longer stay in the house after my mother had passed away.
Why?
Just memories.
Was the house condemned?
My house...
Just a second. Just answer the
Yes,
question.
ma'am.
All right.
Yes, ma'am.
So the house was condemned.
Yes, ma'am.
By what authority?
The city of Clarksburg.
You have the condemnation notice?
I don't have it with me, ma'am.
Fine. When were you served with a condemnation notice?
October of 2016.
Now, what happens to a condemned house? I know what happens to a condemned house. A condemner, and they take it down.
Yes, the city and I have discussed this. Yes.
Fine. So that's what this case is about, this nonsense. You moved out of the house because it was condemned,
No,
because
ma'am.
it was no longer habitable. Yes, if it was condemned in October, that means it was also uninhabitable in August.
No, ma'am.
And the next door neighbor, is this your daughter?
Yes, ma'am.
The next door neighbor who bought the house, fair and square, had a conversation with your daughter.
Yes, Your Honor.
Month and year did you have the conversation with the daughter that you bought the shed?
December 26, 2016, 25th, on Christmas Day.
Great.
I'm
okay.
sorry.
Now I got the dates. Okay.
Yes.
So, hey. Piece of work. Okay, so you were served with a condemnation notice in the house in October.
A different
After-
house, ma'am. Not the house she bought.
I'm not talking about
Okay.
the house she bought. I'm talking about the house your mother lived in.
Yes, ma'am.
She had a conversation with your daughter. Nobody denies that. And your daughter sold her a shed for $75 that was on condemned property.
Yes, ma'am.
Daughter sold her an old shed after the property had been condemned.
Yes, ma'am.
You threw a hissy fit and said she had no right to sell that to you. You know she has drug problems, and she had no right to sell you. I want...
Yes, ma'am.
And so she returned the shed, and you claimed the shed was damaged. And because she took it off the cement block where it was, the foundation, that foundation was also damaged, and you want $4,000. Are you out of your mind? Do you hear these people? Are you crazy? Do you know how ridiculous that sounds?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now I'm going to get to a counterclaim, because I'm done with your claim. Your claim is stupid. Counterclaim is that she threw a fit and called the police, and it was embarrassing for you.
Yes, Your Honor.
On what date did she call the police?
December 26, 2016, I called the police. I have the police record.
So you called the police.
Yes.
Tell me why you called the police.
I called the police because I wanted to get to the bottom of the issue. In my mind, I was upset because, you know, she was coming and taking this back. After I paid for it, you know, I paid for it, and I was upset that she was taking it back. So I said, let's call the police. I told we need to call the police and try to get this sorted out.
According to the plaintiff, Miss Cruz, in the deposition that she swore to,
Yes, ma'am.
I found out that my daughter, who has a drug problem, sold my storage shed to Ladona for $75. Ladona, that's what you wrote.
Yes. Yes.
Did you ever get your $75 back?
No.
You
Did
didn't.
you didn't pay it?
Yes, I did,
Just
Your Honor.
a second. Just a second. That's what you wrote in here. She sold my storage shed to my daughter for $75. She knew she was buying property that wasn't my daughter's to sell. And Ladona was ordered to give back my shed.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Judgment on the counterclaim for $75. You get your money back. Your claim is dismissed. We're done. Goodbye.
Oh, sir, excuse me. Step out. Excuse me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy...
How can you play on my child? I mean, she has a drug problem.
When she approached me in sound mind. I would never prey on anyone.
Why would somebody play on my child's
right.
addiction to try to
Yeah.
go to them
And lie
to sell
on the
something
road.
that didn't belong to her when she was in withdrawal? She needed the money.
I want to say I'm sorry, you know, that she feels the way she does.
I want an apology to my child. I want an apology to my child. I don't care about me.
If it was my own child, I wouldn't want it to happen to them, but when...
As to my child, you don't prey on my child.
But I would never prey on anyone.
Don't do this to my child. She's my child. She's my child.
You ordered some fish, a dozen of them, from the defendant.
Her mail-order tropical fish went belly up.
He sent a sick fish, which I have a picture of, with a disease on it.
It infected your entire tank. Many of your fish died.
Within 6 days, I lost 18 fish.
Is his online business tanking?
Over the last at least 10 years, he has been sending out sick fish to hundreds of customers.
Are you prepared to replace the 12 fish?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Tracy Vestall is suing tropical fish distributor Thomas Mador for selling her sick fish and contaminating her tank.
Order. All rise.
Yeah, it's case number 408 on the calendar in the matter of Vestal versus Mador.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat.
Miss Vestal, what kind of fish tank did you have? Salt water or fresh water?
Fresh water.
How large?
75 gallons.
What kind of fish did you have in it?
The largest ones were about 6 to 7 inches long.
And how long have you had the tank?
16 years.
This is what your lawsuit is about. You ordered some fish, a dozen of them, from the defendant online. He shipped them to you. You ordered 12. He shipped 13, which was a good thing. That's like a baker's dozen, he says. He shipped an extra one, and one of them was dead. DOA, dead on arrival.
Exactly.
According to him, that means you still have the 12 fish that you paid for. You say no, he only sent 12, and one was dead. But that's not the main problem. The main problem is that you claim that he sent sick fish, and as a result of the door, and you also want to be compensated for contaminating your tank. How long have you been in the business of these exotic fish, Mr. Mador?
I've actually been selling tropical fish for 27 years, and I've been keeping them since I was a child.
27 years, and you do that online?
Correct. We carry over 780 products on our website.
Okay. Do you have a picture of what they look like so that I can see?
Yes, I do. Here's a picture of all the fish that arrived.
I actually have a video of that would maybe help you what they actually look like in full color. Very beautiful, colorful fish.
I'm looking at these, and then I'll look at it.
Sure.
Tell him?
Yes, I texted him within the 24 hours of a picture of the dead fish.
Okay. What did he say?
He was going to replace it. We had to spend $35 to ship it to us, so we weren't going to.
May I see the ad that you answered with regard to the fish? And did you have a contract with him, or you?
I have a contract right here if you'd like it, Your
I'd like
Honor.
to take a look at it.
Here's our receipt, along with what the fish look like on his website.
You can see the ad in here.
There was no ad. We found his
It's
website
a website, and then
Okay, may I see the contract?
and you have
please,
to sign the terms and conditions before checking out. And those are the terms and conditions, Your Honor.
Okay, so this is the contract because in order to ship, you have to agree to the terms and conditions.
Okay.
Do you understand that?
Yes.
Okay. Did you familiarize yourself with the terms and conditions before you came here today?
No, I did not.
Well, you should.
Okay.
I'll allow you to tell me what happened, but it's very clear
that he's not
financially responsible to you.
Okay. Even though he sent a sick fish, which I have a picture of his fish with a disease on it, that if entered into my tank will cause deathly to the whole tank.
Ms. Vestal, when did you tell him? Because a couple of other of his fish died subsequently. Is that right?
I had 9 of his fish die, and he killed 9 of mine.
Died. Within how many days?
Within 6 days, I lost 18 fish.
Okay. So you had to read this and familiarize yourself with the terms and conditions and what he said. What this says is, and I'm going to read to you because this is the contract that you signed with him. He said, A, he will replace any fish, and he has 100% guarantee for live delivery. He will replace anything that did not arrive live, but you have to pay the shipping. That's what this says here. You agreed to that when you placed the order. And he required proof of the dead fish, which you sent him. If you get an order of fish that you don't approve of, we ask that you not mail them back. That is more stress than necessary for the fish. We request that you keep them. We will credit you the proper amount or type of fish to fulfill our promise to you. No cash refunds. We will only replace your order with healthy fish. One of the things here, I'll read you all of it. It says that we guarantee that your fish will arrive alive. If not, the first part takes over. And it says, however, when you receive your fish, you are solely responsible for acclimating them to your aquarium. To be safe, we recommend that you quarantine your new fish from your current aquarium for at least 10 days to fully build up their immune systems to prevent any health issues. After you receive your fish, you acknowledge that you take full responsibility for their care and released Rainforest Farms from any liability. That's all contained in the contract that you clicked on and signed. And so you're bound by it.
I don't know where that was when we placed the order and said, you know, we paid for it. I don't know where that part was.
Do you want him to take you outside? You're still in business, correct?
Correct. Can I just tell?
No, don't tell. I want her to be satisfied, and I don't want to bother to look.
Well,
because I understand that when you place an order for something, it usually says, here are the terms and conditions.
Correct.
I agree to accept the terms and conditions before I proceed next, okay? She said she didn't see that.
Well, Your Honor, my husband is the one. He's the one that ordered the fish with Tom. He spoke with Tom beforehand.
Did you place the order on the internet?
Yes, ma'am.
You want to take him out and show him?
Sure.
You want to go look?
I'm not concerned with that part of it.
No, then that's the whole part of it. This is the written contract. It defines what the parameters are.
Your Honor, can I respectfully just say that over the last at least 10 years, he has been sending out sick fish to hundreds of customers?
Listen to me carefully. If that's true, and he says he's been in business for 27 years, what you should have done was after it's too late.
I had no reason to investigate him because it looked like a reputable website. He'd been in business for 27 years.
What do you mean you had no reason? You never dealt with him before?
Well,
what I'm telling you is this is a contract case. This is your contract. This is the parameter of your contract. Unless you want your husband to see that when he placed the order, he had to, you may click it fast and says, these are terms and conditions of the sale. Some people go, bing. Some people look at it. Do you want to see that this is what you passed over?
no, that's...
Yeah, okay, fine. You're bound by the terms and conditions of this contract. And the terms and conditions of this contract also suggest that you not commingle your fish with any other fish for 10 days. And that's to give them for a chance to acclimate to whatever environment you have, whatever room temperature you have. I mean, I've had tropical fish, but not for a very long time. And the suggestion is not to take them and immediately put them in your tank.
Okay, so...
That was just a second. Okay, no, it's not so. I'm trying to explain it to you. That's his suggestion to you, which you did not follow, healthy fish. But that's not the parameters of the contract. The parameter of the contract is he's not giving you your money back for anything. He's prepared to replace a fish that died, and if you're not satisfied with the order, he's telling you here, keep the order, and we'll replace the fish. What do you want?
That was, when we got to 11, he wasn't replacing all fish.
Just a second. Stand up a second.
Yes, ma'am.
This is your contract.
I understand that.
This is your contract.
Yes, ma'am. And it says that he will replace all the fish if we send them back to him and show that they died.
Okay,
Within 6 days, I showed him 9 of your fish have died. 8 of my fish have now died.
8 of your fish is not his business.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You have the choice. You can replace the fish that they're not happy with the order with 12 new fish, or you can give them $270. What's your pleasure? What is your pleasure? It's your contract.
And later today...
Has Mr. Cosby ever stolen money from you?
Years ago, not recently.
Well, how many years ago?
Maybe like 25 years ago or something.
Well, what do you think would prompt him? Because his defense is that you're a little crazy.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Tracy Vestall says tropical fish distributor Thomas Mador sold her sick fish and contaminated her tank.
Okay, 8 of yours is not his business. The 9 of his that died within how many days?
Within 6 days.
And you put his fish in with your fish.
After I acclimated them as well, ma'am. I'm sorry.
We don't have a tank.
What I'm telling you is you have no case. I'm sorry that your fish got
Well,
the
they
fish.
can't stay in bags the way he ships them for 2 weeks.
We're just looking, is he going to replace our fish that he says in his contract he's going to replace? Because verbally, he said he's not replacing the 11 fish. So am I getting my fish replaced?
Just a second. Now that I know, how much did you pay for these 12 fish?
$270.
Okay, so you paid $270. And now I'm going to read this. Number 3 of your contract that you two are bound by says, if you get an order of fish that you do not approve of, we ask that you not bail them back. We will replace them. Right. Are you prepared to replace the 12 fish? Well, that's your contract, sir.
That's the DOA on arrival. That's
No, it's not. That's in a totally separate section.
That has to do with the DOAs.
No, sir. It's not, and it's confusing. And since you constructed this, you're solely responsible for it.
Okay.
Number 1 says if you have a fish that's dead on arrival, we'll replace it, and you have to pay for the shipping.
Okay.
That's talking about a dead fish.
Okay.
Number 3 says if you get an order of fish that you don't like, That's
Is
not,
that what
well,
it's-
you wouldn't necessarily like dead fish. What if he got an order of 12 dead fish? Clearly, you wouldn't like it.
Right.
Okay? So what I'm telling you is this. You have the choice, pursuant to a contract that you wrote. You can the order with 12 new fish.
Okay.
Or you can give him $270. What's your pleasure? What is your pleasure? It's your contract. It's most heavily construed against the person
offered
who...
to replace the fish for her even after the fact that her fish had killed each other.
Just listen. Do me a favor. Don't give me more than I will replace the 12 fish, or I'll pay him the money, $270, that they paid me for the fish.
Well, then we will pay $270
What?
if that's how you deem my contract.
No.
Which that's not
I
how it's
don't
supposed
deem
to.
your contract. I'm looking here, and it says here that you will replace them with live fish. Number 3, no cash refunds. It says no cash refunds, but now we're in court. Maybe you don't want to deal with these people anymore. So if you don't want to deal with these people anymore by sending them another 12
We'll do a
fish,
cash refund then.
great, $270. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you. You're welcome.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I will be reorganizing my contract for sure.
I would never take 12 more fish from him, so I'm glad he chose the refund.
If she's happy, I'm happy. I don't want unhappy customers. I do my best to make sure that everyone is happy.
No more online purchase of fish.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Curvin versus Cosby. Step forward.
Rita Curvin is suing her ex-boyfriend, Milton Cosby, for money from her purse.
I'm sort of confused, Miss Curvin. Mr. Cosby is a friend of yours. You have an on and off relationship with him, and he's married.
Yes.
And you were out with him one evening at a bar, and that was on November 26th. You went out to celebrate your birthday, and according to you, things didn't go well that evening, and without your permission, Mr. Cosby took your car.
That's correct.
And he took your car, and according to you, he damaged the bumper of your car.
Yes.
And also, your pocketbook with some cash in it was in the trunk of the car, and he took the cash out of your pocketbook.
Yes.
How long have you known Mr. Cosby?
All my life.
Has Mr. Cosby ever stolen money from you?
Years ago, not recently. I mean, within...
Well, how many years ago? You're 50. How many years ago?
Maybe like 25 years ago or something.
Well,
like
what do you think would prompt him? Because his defense is that you're a little crazy. So I'm trying to find out. So what do you think would prompt him when he took your car without your permission from the bar? What do you think would prompt him to steal money out of your pocketbook?
I don't know. My purse was locked in the trunk of my car. When I got to my car to retrieve my car from his house, my purse was no longer in the trunk of my car. My bill folder was not in my purse, and my credit cards had been in his car. Payment money was gone.
So how much cash was in the bill folder?
I had $160 thrown away in a part of my bill folder. I had
that
$200.
was still there. Just a minute. So that was still there.
It was still there. The $350 I had in the front of my bill folder, it was still there. I had two $100 bills off in my purse for the car insurance. That was missing out of my purse.
Did you take her money?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Now, let's talk about you took her car.
No, I
from
didn't
the bar.
take her car, ma'am.
Well, you used her car to drive it to your house.
Yes, ma'am.
So you took her car. I didn't say you stole it. I said you took her car.
Yes, ma'am.
Tell me why you took her car.
When we was at the club, ma'am, I had asked Miss Curvin take me back to the room or take me home, and which she had purchased a room prior to us going to the club. I asked her, I say, I know my limit when I drink. I say, so I know I reached my limit. I said, could you please take me back to the car or take me to my truck? And she was like, no, I'm not taking you anywhere. It's my birthday. You came out with me. You're going to party. And if you want to go, just go. And so...
So you went and you took her car?
No, she had gave me her keys.
Did you take her car?
Yes, ma'am. I left in her car.
Well, Mr. Cosby, what kind of nutty thing did you just tell me?
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You just told me that you had big limit, so that she gave you her car keys and you drove home. Why would you get into her car if you were drunk?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Rita Curvin says ex-boyfriend Milton Cosby drove her car without permission and damaged it. She also claims Milton stole money from her purse.
Now, did you take her car?
Yes, ma'am. I left in her car.
Well, Mr. Cosby, what kind of nutty thing did you just tell me? You just told me that you had been out with her, that you had reached your drinking limit, and you weren't going to drink anymore. So then she gave you a car keys and you drove home. Why would you get into her car if you were drunk?
Because I didn't have no way, because we had parked my truck.
Can I see pictures of your car, please?
We had left my truck parked not at the club.
The most ridiculous thing I ever heard. I just want to see pictures of the car, and I want to see a police report, because the police
There's
responded.
no police report.
Well, the police responded to his house.
Yes, I
because
had to
you
call
went there
to
the
his
following morning to make a little bit of a scene, and the police were called. Who called the police?
I called the police because that's where he had my car at.
Now, when you called the police and you got your car, did they make a report, or you just didn't get
report? But they had to make him give me my car keys. Then he took my car and slightly backed into my son's 2015 Dodge Charger with my car.
Who did that?
Mr. Cosby did that.
You mean, is that where this
No,
damage happened?
that happened in between the time that he had my keys in his hand. I went to grab my keys from the club. He snatched them back. Then he tried to get the liquor bottle that was on the table, but I managed to keep him from getting that. Then he left. I thought he was going outside to cool down. He didn't drive my car to the club, so why would I let him drive my car from the club? And when we went in there, the reason he got my keys...
Listen to me. There's no question he should not have been behind the wheel of your car. Period. And if what you're telling me is there was damage between the time you took the car and the time you retrieved the car, that's what I'm concerned.
Okay,
I don't want to hear
damaged.
the whole story. Tell somebody else that part of the story. And now I'd like to see the bill for repair of your car.
Excuse me, Your Honor.
What?
If I would have took her car without her permission.
You took her with permission?
Yes, ma'am. So,
just as she gave you the keys?
But
what? She can't give you permission to kill somebody, can she?
No.
Because that's illegal.
Exactly.
It's also illegal to drive a car drunk.
And that's right. And
Just
that's why I was trying to get her to take me to the house.
But it's a different level, Mr. Cosby, than my saying to you, I want you to kill Bird. And you say, I can't do that. That's a crime. And I say, you know what? But he really annoyed me about 6 months ago. And then yesterday he did something else that was annoying. So I'm going to give you a good reason. So now you can kill him. Do you understand?
Yes,
she
ma'am.
can't give you permission to drive drunk.
Yes, ma'am.
I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care if you have to sleep at the club. You're not supposed to get behind the wheel of a car when you're drunk.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, you're not supposed to get behind the wheel of a car when you're drunk.
And the thing,
which is
the
what you
damage that
told
was
me.
to the car was already there, ma'am.
That's what I got a witness for.
Your witness ain't seen me do the
What kind of car is this?
It's a 2001 Lincoln Town car.
Would you look up the value of a 2001 Lincoln Town car, please? Fair condition.
It was in good condition. That car didn't have a scratch or anything on it.
$2,775.
You saw him driving the car drunk, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, I figured. That's what it says here. Good. $575. That's the part, the bumper. It's a
In the
$2,000
trunk
car.
is
We're
the picture
done.
on the...
We are done. Over. Goodbye.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I did not give him permission to leave in my car.
I don't owe her anything because she's a pathological liar.
He wanted to drink because he was drunk and took my drink out of my hand, and I didn't want to go out on the dance floor.
I asked her to take me home, and she got upset because I didn't want to go to the room with her.
The party is over.
It's over. It's a done deal.
Our relationship together is unhealthy for our child. We cannot be in the same household.
Combative young parents part ways.
He lied to me saying he wasn't working, so he wouldn't have to give me money.
She left, and then they entered into a custody battle.
He did nothing for his kid. He did nothing for me.
But Dad says he fought to stay together.
I unload trucks, I paint houses, I pour concrete.
You do everything except pay child support.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Linda Brotherton is suing Destiny Roseberry for unpaid rent for an...
All rise.
It's case number 417 on the calendar in the matter of Brotherton versus Roseberry.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated, sir. Have a seat.
Miss Brotherton, this young lady is the former girlfriend of your nephew. I must assume this is the nephew.
Yes.
Is that your sister's child or your brother's child?
Actually, cousin.
Okay, so he's not a nephew, he's a cousin. How is he a cousin?
I think he's the third cousin.
So it's not a relationship that's actually...
But we're closer than that. We are a family.
I just like to keep things straight. So he's not a nephew. He's not related to you by blood. He is at best a third cousin, a cousin of a cousin of a cousin.
Yes.
But you're a close group.
Yes.
Great, I got it. I just wanted to see whether this was accurate.
Yes.
So it's my nephew's ex-girlfriend.
His mother and I are best friends. I've known their family since I was forever.
I like to know
what the relationship
is, especially when you swear that he's your nephew. Now he's your best friend's son, so almost like a nephew to you. Okay. Well, whatever he is, he didn't have enough money to rent an apartment with his girlfriend, who either had or was having a baby. When did that take place? Did you move into an apartment with the cousin, friends, whatever?
January 25th of 2016.
While you were pregnant, you lived at home?
Yes.
And about 6 months after you had the baby, you decided to move in with the baby's father. That would be him?
Yes.
But neither of you had enough money to qualify for a lease on an apartment, so you co-signed for them.
I did.
And then it sort of didn't work out, and you moved out in November of 2016.
Yes.
And you moved back home.
Yes.
And you want, since her half of the rent, the idea was they were supposed to split the rent.
Yes.
The idea is you want her half of the rent for those 2 months.
November, December, and the prorated part of January, because she never did leave the apartment.
Well, she left the apartment. She may have left some stuff there, but she left the apartment according to you. According to you, you said she left stuff there. She left, and then they entered into a custody battle.
She has things there. She did not leave the apartment. She comes and goes, still.
Well, that's not what you actually say in your complaint. What you say in your complaint is, in November of 2016, Destiny and Zach broke up, which started a custody battle. Destiny left her belongings at the apartment but refused to pay the rent.
She broke up with them. She declared that she was not going to pay any more rent in the middle of November. That didn't happen exactly that way. She came and went, and it wasn't until beginning of January.
Do you live with them?
No, I do not.
So that you don't know any of this from your first-hand knowledge. You only know it from your cousin, maybe girlfriend's son, Zach. You don't know any of this from your first-hand knowledge.
I do know.
Just a second. Were you in the apartment when she came back?
No.
Then you don't know any of it from your first-hand knowledge. You do. Stand up. You're Zach.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. In January of 2016, where were you working?
Degree, that is a landscaping company, miss.
In January?
Yeah.
And how long were you there?
I worked there for about 6 months.
So you worked there from January until June?
No, when we first got this apartment, miss, I detailed cars. From then, which was like midway through the lease,
Just a minute. I'll talk to him. In January, you detailed cars for whom?
For Shine and Ride on East Galbraith in Reading, Ohio.
Were you paid by the hour? By the week?
Yes, ma'am.
By the hour. You were paid in check.
Yes, ma'am.
Which you deposited.
Yes, ma'am.
And how much was the check that you deposited each week?
Maybe 400 up.
And where were you working, Miss Roseberry?
I was bartending at a nightclub, New York Cabaret.
And that's when you moved in?
Yes.
Okay. And your arrangement was you were supposed to split the expenses?
Yes.
Okay. Did you continuously have this job detailing until June?
Yes, ma'am.
And after June?
I hooked up with one of my buddies and started landscaping.
You mean you hooked up with one of your buddies and started your own company? Or?
No. He works with a previous company that he got me in through.
And that was in June?
Yeah.
So you were detailing cars up until June, and then you started to work for landscaping company.
Yes, ma'am.
Are you still working there?
I am. I'm unemployed. I do shop hours, miss.
What does that mean?
That means, like, I don't get a check weekly, but I can still come there and do shop hours throughout the week and be paid under the table.
So how many hours a day do you get paid for under the table?
To be honest, Your Honor, because I'm laid off through them right now, I haven't been calling back and getting the shot. Yes, ma'am.
When were you laid off?
The beginning of January is when I was laid off.
Of this year?
Yes, ma'am.
So you were still working for them full-time. Very easy to figure out with a phone call. You were still working for them full-time in November and December.
Yes, ma'am.
So you were still able to pay your half of the rent.
Yes, ma'am.
Is that correct?
Yes.
So, Miss Roseberry, I'm looking at your answer. It said, after we moved in, I paid for everything since he didn't have a job. So that's
several times saying he wasn't working, so he wouldn't have to give me money. I paid for his half.
Tell me about that.
I would ask him for the rent, and he said he would be 100 short every time. So I was picking up his slack the whole time we lived there.
Well, if he was 100 short, that's not half. You got to be better with numbers.
He was about 200 short every 2 months.
So this is inaccurate, what you wrote here. He didn't have a job, and I was taking care of him and the child, and this put stress on our relationship.
Yes, even though he was working, I was still paying for everything.
No, you weren't. If he was short, that's not paying for everything.
I was working 2 jobs. I was at a nursing home also. I took care of Xander. I would find babysitters. He did nothing for his kid. He did nothing for me.
Miss Roseberry, let me tell you something. How old are you?
21.
And how old are you?
I am 23, Your Honor.
Okay. Too young and too stupid to make a baby. And then you think, Miss Roseberry, that life is going to give you a 50-50 proposition? It's not going to give you a 50-50 proposition. Get that out of your head, or you will be constantly disappointed. Take that from an older person, very older person, who knows that once you set a parameter, I was doing this, and I was making appointments, and I was taking care of the baby, and I was getting up with him in the middle of the night. Yeah, he was working, but he baby, and I was working 2 jobs, and I was doing so much more, and it was so much better at my mother's house, where she took care of the baby, and she took care of the laundry, and I may go out to work, but at least I had some help who wasn't watching a football game and drinking beer with his friends in the house. Well, then you don't have a baby when you're 19 and he's 21, because that's stupid. All right. You want your money back?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. You want the money back for November. Did you pay half your rent in November?
No, I did not, because I moved out the end of November because he was being violent towards me.
Okay. So you moved out in November. So you owe your half of November's rent. How much was half of your rent in November? How much was the full rent?
$615.
So you owe $307 for the month of November. Now, are you still in the apartment?
I'm not.
Okay. When did you move out?
Like right before we come and took this trip, Your Honor.
Okay, so you stayed there through January.
Yeah.
And you're working under the table now.
Yeah.
So that you're not paying any taxes. And you set your own hours?
I just do odd jobs, Your Honor.
What does that mean, odd jobs?
Like orders for Menards. I unload trucks. I paint houses. I pour concrete.
You do everything except pay child support. Just a second. You do everything except pay child support. From what I gather, listen, I don't want to hear, because I think the whole case is sort of a little ridiculous, but who paid the rent in the apartment for the month of December and January? You can only say the wrong thing.
I was just going to wait for you to let me speak, that's all.
Well, now I'm waiting for you. Who paid the rent for December and January?
In December, I gave my aunt $300. There's my half.
So in December, you gave your aunt $300.
Correct.
And you were working, according to you, in December in full. You didn't start, according to you, it wasn't until January where you got laid off and you started to get paid under the table. That was according to what you told me a minute ago. Okay. And she had left in November. Is that right?
As she says, Your Honor.
Just a second. Is that correct, that she left in November?
To be honest, no, that's not correct.
Well, then tell me about her not leaving in November.
She claims she'll leave, Your Honor. She'll be gone for 2 days, then she'll be beating on my door at midnight when she gets home from her job, arriving with my son. That's another thing. Anytime she would work, as she says, and come to our home that she claims she no longer lives at, it would be late, crazy beyond hours, 3, 4 in the morning. She'd have my son with her, knocking at the door. And then if she said, like she said, she'd moved out, it'd be for a week grace period, and then she'd be at my doorstep the next week knocking on the door. I need my stuff. I live here, too. My name's on the lease, but she's not helping with any other bills. I don't understand that.
Save it for the fact she's now living with her mother, and you're working in the month of December. What kind of contribution, if any, because I'm not crazy about her either, what kind of contribution did you make towards your son's support in December?
Miss?
Nothing. It says either something or nothing.
It's something.
Well, tell me what it was.
Since my son has been delivered from this woman. I've been there from day one. He's lived in our house. I've taken care of him. I've watched him while she's went to work. I've bought diapers, things that fathers are supposed to do.
This isn't family court, Zach.
I understand that.
I asked you the month of December. She had moved out. You were working full-time. You paid your aunt half the money, $300 a month. You told me that you were working and making about $400 a week because you wouldn't have left a job where you were making $400 a week to make less, to start a new venture with your friend. So that I have to assume you were at least making $1,600, $1,700 a month. So what did you do with the other money?
I don't understand where you come up with that sum of money, miss.
Well, I'm going to tell you. You want to know where? I'm going to tell you where.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
You didn't work for a car wash, then you worked for a landscaper.
If we're talking about then, what are you talking about when I did that course?
I don't want to speak to you
That's
anymore.
fine.
I'm going to tell you something, Zach. You better get your story. You think you have a bad temper?
No, I don't.
If I asked your wife, would she say that you had a bad temper?
No.
Does he yell at you?
Not at me, no.
Not at you. At whom?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Linda Brotherton says Destiny Roseberry owes for rent for an apartment in her name.
I asked you where you were working between January and June. You said I was detailing cars. I said, how much would you make a week? You told me $400 a week. So that's about $1,600, $1,700, $1,800 a month. Then you told me that you went to work with a buddy of yours who had a landscaping job. So no normal person with a brain would leave a job where they were making $1,800 a month to go to a job where they were making less than $1,800 a month for a job. So therefore, that's where I get it from. And I'm going to repeat my question. You gave your aunt, cousin, friend $300 towards the rent. What did you do with the rest of the money?
Your Honor, each one of those checks weren't always at that. That's what I'm saying. I worked for a car wash.
You didn't work for a car wash, then you worked for a
Detailing.
landscaper.
If we're talking about then, what are you talking about when I detail cars?
I don't want to speak to you
That's
anymore.
fine.
I'm going to tell you something, Zach. You had a hearing in the family court? No.
I've been to court one time and it was
Just a
that
second.
woman
Have
for
you
child
had
support.
a hearing about custody or visitation or anything
Yeah,
else?
that's already squared away. I have joint custody of my son, Your Honor.
Okay. Tell me about the joint custody arrangements. How many days a week is your son with you, and how many days a week is he with his father?
He is supposed to be with Zach 3 days a week and every other weekend.
Was that after a hearing or
It was an agreement. In mediation, I didn't want to keep Xander from
Don't tell me otherwise. I'm not interested in the why. So he has him 3 days a week and every other weekend. You have 4 days a week and every other weekend.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's going to be a support agreement. Well, just 1 day she has, 1 day more. That's your problem. Anyway, when you moved out in November, did you have a discussion with Zach beforehand about moving out?
Yes.
Tell me when that took place and what was the discussion?
It was the end of November, around 28th or 29th. We discussed that he would get a roommate because he has multiple friends that would love to take my place, as he states.
Was this during an argument or was it during a rational...
It was a mutual agreement that...
No, not a mutual agreement. I didn't say that. I said, was it during an argument or was it during a, I'm going back to my mom's?
It was, our relationship together is unhealthy for our child. We cannot be in the same household.
Did it become volatile?
Yes.
Okay, and you both understood that. Did you understand back to your mother's and he was going to have one of his friends move in?
Yes.
Stand up.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
You knew he was going to go off and make a fool out of himself, right?
We're going on a tangent.
We're going?
Yeah.
Okay, I don't know
Right. Right.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Linda Brotherton says Destiny Roseberry owes for rent for an apartment in her name.
Did you ever have that discussion with her?
I don't. No, ma'am.
Were you going to say, I don't remember?
I was going to say I don't recall.
You don't recall. That's better. Did you, in fact, stay in the apartment December and January?
I did.
Okay. Sit down. Thank you. Very good. Get your rent from him. Your case is dismissed. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
With the defendant, I really wish she would have just held up to her half, been an adult, and paid her half.
He was very mentally abusive and violent.
While I was busy paying my half, missing her half that we needed.
And I hope, you know, it all gets better.
To pay those bills. Then I had to ask my aunt herself to help me with that.
When I realized my self-worth.
And if her name was on the lease, she should also been able to do the same thing. And
It's better to be independent.
I'm gonna let it go. You ready, Lynn?
All parties in the matter of Blanchett versus O'Shea. Step forward.
Gabriel Blanchett is suing his ex-landlord, Thomas O'Shea, for the return of rent, moving costs, and harassment.
Mr. Blanchett, you rented a room from the defendant, who I understand this is your wife, lives with his wife. You rented the room when, sir?
On May 28th of last year.
And when did you move out?
I moved out on October 18th.
And you want your prorated rent for that month?
Correct.
Now, Mr. O'Shea, I gather that your tenancy with Mr. Blanchett did not go swimmingly well as you thought.
No, it didn't.
Had you ever had a tenant before?
Yes.
How many times?
Several.
That go okay?
You know.
Sometimes yes, sometimes yes, sometimes no.
Yeah.
Do you have a temper? Look, do you think you have a bad temper?
No, I don't.
If I asked your wife, would she say that you had a bad temper?
No.
Does he have a bad temper?
I don't believe so.
Does he yell at you?
Not at me, no.
Not at you. At whom?
At the plaintiff here.
Yeah. Okay. So it's fair to say that you were not unhappy when he left.
Well, I wasn't happy when he decided to come to me.
O'Shea, pay careful attention to what I just said.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
You weren't unhappy when he left.
Correct.
And the police had been called several times to your house.
Twice, yes.
With regard to him.
Yes.
Now I'm going to ask you another question. Other than the police responding to the house with complaints regarding Mr. Blanchett, how many times did the police come to your house otherwise?
I don't think any.
What do you mean, I don't think any?
Okay, let me be more precise. Not any.
So that would mean that he was a real problem, since you've had other tenants and no problems.
No, he wasn't a real problem. No, he wasn't actually a problem at all. He decided to call the cops on his own behalf for a reason I don't know.
If he wasn't a problem, would you explain to me why you gave him a 30-day notice?
Because he decided to come at me with his problems again when I didn't care about his money problems, and I told him to keep it to himself. So we got into a heated argument. Okay. We get into a heated argument.
Keep going, I'm loving it.
So we get into a heated argument.
You knew he was going to go off and make a fool out of himself, right?
We're going on a tangent.
We're going?
Yeah, so he
How
called
much
the
was your
police.
monthly rent?
I originally paid $550, and the last month I was there, it went to $600.
Moved out on the 18th?
Right.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $150. We're done. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
He never paid the checks to me. He paid the checks to the actual owner of the house.
He places the ad, he interviews the people, he decides who's going to live there.
So I never saw his money.
He decides how much to charge. He's the de facto landlord.
So how could I be paying for something when I never saw the money?
He came at me with a fist, like he was getting ready to hit me, throw a punch.
Oh, he wants to cry wolf to the cops when they can't help him either.
And I don't want to get in any trouble, so I just called 911.
Oh, yeah, and they did nothing.
Little more careful screening process.
Nah, man, you know, life throws you curveballs.
Yeah.
What can you say?
Pitbull versus Pitbull.
The first time we ever met her dog, it was a small attack, and we saw a little bit of blood.
Then it escalated.
Happened again the next day. Her dog latched onto my dog's mouth.
You were sufficiently concerned to get your dog a muzzle.
But that wasn't the end.
He was trying to rip my dog's right ear off.
Why wasn't it muzzled?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. 20-year-old Amanda Allman and boyfriend, 23-year-old John Kidd, are suing neighbor, 23-year-old Bobby Nickel, for vet bills, lost wages, and punitive damages due to a dog attack.
Order. All rise.
It's case number 404 on the calendar in the matter of Allman Kidd versus Nickel.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, huh?
What's your last name?
Kidd.
Your Honor.
Do you and Miss Allman live together?
Yes, Your Honor.
How long have you lived together?
About 2 years, Your Honor.
What kind of a dog do you have?
We have a pit bull, Your Honor.
How many?
2.
How old are they?
1 is 2, Your Honor, and 1 is a year.
And you live in the same building?
Yes, Your Honor.
What kind of a dog do you have?
I also have a pit bull.
How old?
He's 1.
Now, it is your claim that the defendant's dog mauled one of your dogs, and you want her to be responsible for the vet bills.
Yes, Your Honor.
The defendant says that actually you, Mr. Kidd, were walking the dog. Doing you a favor, he was a visitor, he was only walking one dog.
My roommate, and he was taking my dog out while I was at work, Your Honor.
Okay, so he lives with you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it just the 3 of you?
Yes, Your Honor.
And you were only walking one dog?
Yes, Your Honor.
What happened to the other one?
She was walking the other one as well.
So you were walking the dogs together?
Yes. Well, she came in first, and then I came in a few minutes later just because Benny had to use the bathroom.
You weren't there?
No, Your Honor.
Sit. The dogs, I gather from reading the complaint, have had a series of kerfuffles before. Is that right?
Yes.
You want to tell me when that started?
The first time we ever met her dog, it was a small attack, and we didn't realize it until we got inside and we saw a little bit of blood. But we assured her, we let her know what happened, and she assured us that she would try not to let it happen again. Happened again the next day.
How did it happen? Who was with the dog when it happened?
Well, the first time it happened, we were coming, my boyfriend and I were coming down the stairs, and they were coming up, and they never met before, so we didn't know it'd be any physical altercation. We didn't notice anything. I mean, her dog did get a little antsy, but we didn't notice it until we got inside. And then the next day, my boyfriend was taking the dog out, and her roommate was taking out her dog, and that was the actual first really bad attack. Her dog latched onto my dog's mouth, and fortunately my boyfriend could get the dog off, and her roommate assured us that it wasn't that serious. He had a little scar, but it wasn't where he needed stitches.
Okay, now, Miss Nickel, at some point from reading your answer, you were sufficiently concerned to get your dog a muzzle.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yeah.
How old was your dog when you got, is it a male or a female?
It's a male.
How old was your dog when you got him?
4 months old.
Where did you get him from?
I got him from a family friend. A family friend.
Did the family friend explain to you why he was getting rid of the dog?
It was going to be a Christmas present, but their dad said that they couldn't keep him.
How many incidents has the dog had?
The 2 incidents that the plaintiffs stated were the incidents that I'm aware of.
Do you have children?
I do not.
You have children?
No.
I only keep one thing on my bench, and I keep it on my bench. It was a letter that was sent to me in 2014 by a woman in Yulia City, California. And she said, she's enclosing this letter for me from a local newspaper. It concerns a broken-hearted grandfather who had repeatedly warned his kids about their pit bulls and their grandchildren. This was an open letter to the editor. He said, my 3-year-old grandson is lying in a hospital bed, implanted with IV tubes and many stitches all over his face and chin. His grandma and I were the last to be called out of guilt. He's the victim of a pit arguments about the dangers the parents subjected these children to fell on deaf ears. It seems all their friends have at least one. They have 2. These are his children. He goes on. But, Miss Nickel, what I don't understand, so you understand what happened here?
Yes.
What I don't understand is you have a dog that is clearly aggressive enough at 1 year for you to muzzle it.
Yes.
Why keep it?
He is my best friend. He's a perfect dog.
I'm going to make a copy of this for you.
Okay.
I'm going to make a copy of this for you. Okay, so now, you want to tell me what happened on the date of this incident, which was?
I have no idea when the day of the incident was.
What was the date, Miss Allman?
December 9th.
Okay, December 9th.
December 9th, yes. I come in from walking the dog, coming all the way up the stairs, 3rd floor, with the leash. I see this dog coming out, running towards Benny, and attacks Benny on the right ear. Next thing you know, I was trying to grab Benny away from the other dog. The dog was so attached to Benny's ear, I didn't know what else to do, so I stopped doing it for a while. Amanda comes in.
She comes in where?
She comes in from her house.
What do you mean? I don't understand. You came in
They were in the hallway, and we have a picture of the hallway if you want to see it.
Okay, so you came out into the hallway.
Yeah, I heard it. Fortunately, I was just coming inside from taking my dog. I was with him. So I was still at the front door taking her leash off, and I heard everything. So I ran out to the...
And what did you see when you entered the hallway?
Her dog, Gnarly, was trying to rip my dog's right ear off.
Where?
Like right in front of her door, which is right in front of the steps, at the top of the steps.
Okay. Your story is different. Let me hear it.
On December 9th, I was going to take my dog out. My friend Jack was also with me. When I opened the door to the hallway, I saw Amanda carrying her smaller dog up the stairs. I said, you know, hello, sorry. You know, we try to keep the dog separated as much as possible. I closed the door back. My dog was in a heel position, and I looked out the peephole. The hallway was clear. When I opened the door once again, the dog did have a leash on, but there was no one holding the dog's leash. So it was just running up the hallway, completely unattended. I was inside my apartment with the door just slightly open. The dog entered into my apartment and began to fight my dog. My dog has injuries, and I also was bit during the attack.
You were taking the dog out?
Yes.
Why wasn't it muzzled?
I was still inside my apartment.
You were taking the dog out in a heeled position. Why wasn't your dog muzzled?
I was just checking the hallway to see if it was clear.
No, that's not what you just said. No.
Yes.
That's not what you just said. Okay, can I see the vet bills, please?
Of course.
Thank you.
Sorry.
Okay. Now I'm going to address your counterclaim. Since I don't believe your story, you have a counterclaim. This is what your counterclaim is, that during the course of this kerfuffle with the two dogs, you were injured. Well, your dog should have had a muzzle. Then we wouldn't have had a problem. You also were suing them because until your lease is up, you have to board your dog because the landlord told you to get rid of the dog or you had to go, right?
Yes, ma'am.
So you want them to pay the cost of boarding your dog for the next several months. That's also dismissed. $442. Judgment for the plaintiff. We're done.
What about my hospital bills?
I just told you. That's your fault. Your dog should have been muzzled. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
This dog entered into my apartment and attacked my dog and myself.
She lies about everything. Clearly, she couldn't even keep her story straight in court.
I was breaking up the dogs, and their dog bit me in the process.
Having her own dog bit her, and she just wants someone to blame.
We don't talk much before or after the incident.
He's good. He's healed. He's happy.
As soon as my lease is up, I will be out.
The dog's out of sight, so we're a happy family.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Branscombe versus White Astorga. Step forward.
Janice Branscombe is suing her step-granddaughter, 22-year-old Audrey White, and her boyfriend, 24-year-old Christopher Astorga, for rent and the return of property.
Miss Branscombe, I assume this young man is your grandson.
Yes, he is.
And based upon a little bit of a disciplinary problem.
Yes, most teenagers are.
And his parents told him to leave the house.
Yes.
He didn't come to live with you. He went to live with his stepsister and her boyfriend.
Yes.
And he went to live with them sometime the end of October, beginning of November? What date?
October the 10th.
According to you, gave them some money.
Yes.
Did you give them money in October?
Yes, we were paying $50 a week until the 1st of November.
In October. And in November, on November 1st, you gave them $250 to cover his expenses whenever he was living there because you are the payee of his disability.
Yes.
How much does he get from disability?
He was getting $733. Next month, it will be cut to $490.
But at that point, he was getting $733.
Yes.
And of the $733 for the month of October, you paid $150. For the month of November, you paid $250. Yes. And he left their home on November 18th. So this lawsuit is about the following. This lawsuit is about the days in November that he didn't live there because he was as much of a problem there as he was elsewhere. So you want those 12 days back of rent.
We're talking about November, the $250 that we paid for November.
He stayed there till November 18th.
Yes, but he didn't finish out the month.
I don't care. You get nothing for rent. Now let's move on to something. You paid for certain things for him. He got his clothes back, is that right?
Your Honor, we tried many times for him to come get his things. He came at night, 12 o'clock at night with friends, and tried to get his things.
What things?
She had bought microwave and a coffee pot and crock pot and household item things.
Let's go to his clothes. Do you have any of his clothes at your house?
Yes, Your Honor.
Pack them up, send them back.
Yes, ma'am.
No.
Pack up, send back.
They're packed up and
ready to go.
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, the text messages she sent me speak for themselves.
I'd like to see them.
This is my handwriting.
No, I don't want to see your handwriting. I want to see the text messages.
Your Honor, I would not let her come on my property because of the things she was saying to me.
Just a second. I don't care. Did you tell her at any time that you gave away the property, that you destroyed the property, that you didn't have the property?
Some of them you have to scroll down.
You are not welcome here. What's wrong with that? She doesn't want you there. What else do you want to show me?
Your Honor, would you scroll downward to read all the texts, please?
Will I?
Yes,
no.
please.
Show me where she says she doesn't have the clothes.
Where she doesn't have the clothes.
Correct. She says she has them. They're packed up. They're ready to go.
She says she not allow me to come on the property where I can retrieve those.
That's right. She doesn't want you to come on the property. If you want to pay for having her ship them someplace, you could do that. Do you want to pay? Do you want to pay?
More than willing to come and get them.
No, you
but
can't.
I was not
She
allowed.
doesn't want you on her property.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
So a cable.
It's an HDMI cable.
I don't know. It's nonsense. Replace them. Say thank you for taking care of your pain-in-the-neck grandchild.
There's also a color television set involved.
Who asked you to say anything?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janice Branscombe says step-granddaughter Audrey White and boyfriend Christopher Estorga owe for rent and the return of property.
Now, she has the clothes. You don't get the clothes unless you pay for the shipping.
I will be willing to pay for the shipping.
Great. How many boxes are there?
They're between 3 and 4.
As soon as she gets your $75 money order from you, she will ship the clothes. Is that fair?
Yes, Your Honor.
Clothes. Now, other property, because you don't get rent, because that's nonsense. The other property that you bought, she says you bought a microwave, you bought a crock pot. What else?
It was a coffee.
Microwave, crock pot, coffee pot, and a toaster.
A Blu-ray player.
Did she buy that?
Yes, ma'am.
And there was a 4-foot cable.
A what?
4-foot cable, coaxial cable that you have to connect the Blu-ray player to the TV.
So a cable.
It's an HDMI cable.
I don't know. It's nonsense. What else?
There was other cables also.
I don't care. Replace them. Say thank you for taking care of your pain-in-the-neck grandchild. Now, all those things she purchased when her grandson moved into your house, she wants them back. But those are big things. Are you willing to pay $200 to have those things shipped to you?
Yes, I am.
Fine. When she gets your money order for $275, she's going to send back your microwave, your crock pot, your coffee pot, a toaster, and the DVD player. Do you understand?
Yes.
Great. What do you want?
There's also a color television set involved.
I don't care. Who asked you to say anything?
Your Honor.
What?
It was a 32-inch smart TV.
Well, that's going to cost a lot of money to move. You willing to pay $300 to have that moved?
Yes.
Just a second. So now, I want you to understand what you're agreeing to. Nobody else but you are going to pay $575 in a money order to them. Within 15 days, you've defaulted, and all this stuff is going to stay with her. Do you understand?
Yes.
What?
While he was there, he broke our microwave, so we replaced our microwave with the one that he messed up, with his.
Buy a new one.
Okay.
Get this done with.
Yes, ma'am.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
He says it was a loan. He wants you to pay him back. So
Right.
what's the problem?
Problem is we thought that it was from the owner as a severance package.
That's not what you just told me. I mean, now you realized what you should have let her talk, actually.
Now we do.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Janice Branscombe says step-granddaughter Audrey White and boyfriend Christopher Estorga owe for rent and the return of property.
Within 15 days, not business days, 15 days from today, if you don't receive in the mail a check for $575, she's defaulted and all the property belongs to you. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
We're done. Thank you.
Excuse me, step out.
He was very rude to us. When he left on his own.
She texted me numerous times that we were not allowed to come on her property.
I have 2 kids at home, and I will not allow violence on my property.
So I couldn't take the property without her permission to be on it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Smith versus Pearson, step forward.
Dale Smith is suing his former co-worker, April Pearson, and her husband, Jack, for an unpaid loan to move.
Mr. Smith, you and the defendants at one point worked in the same mobile home park.
Yes, ma'am.
At some point, the defendants were let go. And according to you, after they were let go, they came to you and asked for a loan because they didn't have money to relocate anyplace else. And you gave them a loan in the amount of $1,000, expected to be repaid. Pearsons have not repaid you. They say, well, it really wasn't a loan. It was conscience money because you sort of subversively got them fired from the job. And you took over their job when they left. And this was sort of to salve your conscience, this $1,000. That's your defense. They have a ridiculous counterclaim, which I'm probably not even going to entertain, for conniving to get them fired. With whom did you have the conversation when Mr. and Mrs. Pearson said that they needed money?
They both came in the office at that time, and they found out that I had some extra money.
Let's get a date first.
This was on June 30th of 2016.
And when were you let go?
Around the 20th of June.
So 10 days before?
Yes. Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
fine. Tell me what happened when you went into the office on the 30th and you spoke to Mr. Smith.
Okay, actually it wasn't in the office. It was a situation where I was out in the park and I had been running frantically for 2 weeks trying to find a place to live with the owner of the property, promising money and saying we were going to get a severance pay package. So we were pretty much living from month to month up to that point. Then we found out that Dale had come to me and he'd said, because he knew we had 2 days left before the owner had asked us to be moved out.
The end of the month?
At the end of the month, yeah. So I was trying to find a place with no money because I'm on disability myself and we completely depended upon her income. Her income had gotten cut off conveniently and more or less washed under the table that we had already been paid and this and that. Well, 2 months
Would
went...
you just tell me what happened?
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Would you just tell me what happened on June 30th?
June 30th, Dale had come to me and said, hey, I know you guys are in a bind. You're trying really hard to get out of here because we were trying to meet the dates and so forth. He says, you know what? I got some extra money. I can loan you some money if you need it out. Actually offered me needed enough to pay our deposit in the new place because we want to honor our agreement. He loaned us $1,000. We went to the new place, moved out on our date. At the time, like I said, I'm disabled, so she was working. I was stressed.
Just a second. So I got that. So what happened?
So we got the new place, then found out that this was more a loan than it was. We thought it was our severance package.
No. You said it 3 times when you were telling me the story.
Yeah.
You said, listen, I have some extra money. I can loan you $2,000. And you said, I don't need that much. So he said, all I need you to loan me is $1,000.
Right.
Right. Well, that's why he's here. He says it was a loan. He wants you to pay him back.
Right.
So what's the problem?
Problem is that we thought that it was from the owner as a severance package.
That's not what you just told me. I mean, now you realized what you should have let her talk, actually.
Now we do.
You probably should have let her talk. Well, judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,000. Your ridiculous counterclaim is dismissed. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, Judge. Step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Well, a lot of people can say whatever they want. You know, it's not a severance package.
Well, I think he went around behind other people's backs and was telling them a bunch of false stuff, which, you know, it's all right.
When you get fired, the owner was on the site with me.
I'm just glad I'm out of there.
Glad we're out of there.
Dan would loan money all the time.
It wasn't enough to have a generous boss.
So if he was a nice guy, Miss Smalley, then why did you steal from him? You were convicted of stealing from him.
Yes, ma'am, I was.
But the judge isn't feeling so charitable.
I made a mistake.
You made 2 mistakes. The second one is coming here and telling me the story.
Judge Judy.
You know that I'm not buying what you're saying to me, but I'm going to let you dig your hole.
You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Daniel Batson is suing his former employee, Vicki Smalley, and her husband, Ted, for an unpaid loan and late fees.
Order. All rise. It's case number 414 on the calendar in the matter of Batson versus Smalley.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Batson, Miss Smalley worked for you as an accountant.
A bookkeeper, yes.
Bookkeeper. In what kind of business?
I buy and sell all types of different used equipment that I purchase.
How long did Miss Smalley work for you?
Approximately 6 to 7 years.
Now, there came a time for a loan.
Yes.
They don't deny that. When was that?
Approximately late 2013, 2014. I don't have the original date.
Do you remember when you came to him for the loan?
February 2014.
And how much money did he loan you?
$1,200.
Is that correct?
No.
How much?
I loaned them 2 different times for a total of $2,800.
Did you give them a check or cash?
I gave them cash.
And they, at some point, started to pay you back?
Yes.
When?
October of 2014, I was given a check for $2,000, which did not go through. At that point...
Do you have that check?
Yes.
I'd like to take a look at it. And when you say it did not go through, it was dishonored by the bank?
Yes, it was returned for insufficient funds.
Okay. Now, Miss Smalley.
Yes.
Let's go back to you. I said, how much did you borrow?
Yes.
And you said $1,200.
Yes, ma'am.
Then you want to tell me why you wrote him a check for $2,000 and in your handwriting wrote partial payment?
That was a loan, a prior loan to the one that we're talking about.
No, it's not.
Yes, it is.
No.
Yes, it is.
You mean you came to Mr. Batson and asked him for money on more than one occasion?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. You know that I'm not buying what you're saying to me, but I'm going to let you dig your hole. You understand?
Okay.
Okay. When was the first time you came and asked? Okay.
Would loan money all the time. Okay? If you were an employee, if you worked for Dan and you needed to borrow some money till the next payday, or you needed to borrow money...
And why did you steal from him? You were convicted of stealing from him.
Yes, ma'am, I was convicted of
forgery. So if he was a nice guy, Miss Smalley, and loaned all of his employees money when they needed it, and according to you, loaned you money on successive occasions, why'd you steal from him?
Actually...
You were convicted of stealing from him.
Yes, ma'am, I was. But
okay. Would you want to tell me why? No, first I asked the why.
I made a mistake.
You made 2 mistakes. The second one is coming here and telling me the story.
No, ma'am.
Because as part of your conviction, you were ordered to make restitution.
Yes.
Restitution is not for a loan. Criminal courts cannot order you to make restitution for a loan.
Right.
They can order you to make restitution for what you stole. So when the court ordered you to make restitution, which is your defense to this case, that they ordered me to make restitution, and I made restitution in the amount of $1,200, that covered the loan.
No, ma'am.
But criminal... Well, that's what you wrote in your answer. You said in your answer that you swore to, I was ordered to pay back all the money I owed him, so I paid him $1,200. Criminal court can't order you to pay back a loan. Let's start with that. They can order you to pay back what you stole. And what I owed, they ordered you to pay him back $1,200 because that's what you stole.
Actually, the amount in question on that is $658 and change.
Well, not in question. The criminal court ordered you to pay back as restitution what you stole in the amount of $1,200. It had nothing to do with the loan.
Right.
Now you're saying right. So how much does she owe you?
$1,300.
Did she make a... Just because I can't get a straight answer from her. She wouldn't know how to give a straight answer. She wouldn't know the truth if it slapped her in the face. You want to speak? You want to speak?
Yes, I do.
Great. Do you owe him $1,300?
No.
How many times did you ask him for money? How many times did you ask him for money?
One time.
One time. That's what he's here for. Not this baloney that your wife is talking about over a period of time. You asked him. That's what this case is about. The one time the two of you came to him and asked him for money.
That is correct.
Good. And look at me. And you asked him for money because?
We had an incident occur where we were having a house problem with a large banking institution that is under suit.
I don't care. You were having financial trouble.
When we had to obtain a lawyer for this other incident. So for a lawyer fee. That's all we borrowed was $1,200. We took him to dinner and borrowed $1,200 and not a penny more.
Listen to me. Just a second. So that's $1,200.
Correct.
On what date? Month and year.
Ma'am, I can't even tell you my birthday half the time.
Very good. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,300. We're done. Bunch of scammers.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
According to me, we borrowed $1,200 from Dan. We paid it back.
They had paid some of the money, but most of it was late.
The promissory note that he purportedly brought.
Saying that I only loaned them $1,200, that's, I mean...
I also have a copy of and have proof that the signatures that on it were not ours.
I've got a promissory note they both signed that said $2,800.
No, I think he's the bad guy.
I understand he's upset. He won't hear anything bad about his wife.
Because he's trying to get more back than what he was given, than what he gave.
But I'm not the one who started this. All I did was finish it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Jones versus Locks. Step forward.
Bill Jones is suing his former friend, Ethan Locks, for an unpaid loan to pay legal fees.
Mr. Locks, when was the last time you were in jail?
2010, I believe, Your Honor.
Not since 2010?
No, ma'am.
Did you ever tell the plaintiff that you were going to jail? How do you know him?
We had met because my granddaughter, we do horse shows, and we had sold a horse, and they didn't pay all the money they needed to for the horse, but they had 2 bikes. And his neighbor I buy hay from, and he told me that his kid was a champion motocross or whatever. So I called Clint and asked him to give me his number, see if he wanted the bikes for $3,000. I told him what kind of bikes they were, and he said he would take the bikes.
So you sold him some bikes?
2 bikes.
Okay. And when was that?
2011, 12, somewhere in there, I don't know.
Okay. When you sold him the 2 bikes for $3,000?
Yes.
Did he pay you?
Yes.
Great. This case is about what you claim was a loan.
Correct.
That you made to him. And you made him the loan in what month and year?
September of 2015.
I'd like you to tell me the circumstances of the loan.
He had called me up and said that he had to go to jail and he needed some money. I think at that time he only wanted $1,000. I told him I would try to get it for him. However, before I got the money, he called me back a few hours later and said he needed $5,000.
Had you had that kind of a relationship with the defendant that you felt as if it was appropriate for him to call you for that kind of money?
Well, he owns his own property out there. He has a nice track. His kids nice to go out there and watch him practice on the track he has at his house. So I got to know him fairly well, and we even went to lunch once anyway.
Okay, so then he called you back and asked you for $5,000.
Yes.
And?
So I gave him $5,000.
Do you have proof of that? It's not an answer. Do you have proof that you gave him $5,000?
No, I do not. I can tell you how I gave it to him, but I don't have proof that he did not give me a receipt.
Where did you get the money from?
When we race horses or we have our show horses, we have people with green cards are the only ones that'll shovel horse manure and so forth. I can't give them a check because if I do, they go to a check cashing place and they lose a lot of their earnings. So I have a slush fund at the ranch that we pay all the help that help us with the horse shows and the horse racing, and that's where I got the money. And plus, I go to an auction.
Is this your brother?
This is my brother. And he was giving me money to buy him a tractor because he owns a ranch about 7 miles from me in Pleasant Grove.
So what you're telling me is that you gave Mr. Locks cash?
Yes.
Did he ever tell you what he was going to jail for?
I asked him, and he did not answer me, so I didn't. I just thought it was DUI or something like that. I didn't know. I did not know.
What were you in jail for in 2010, Mr. Locks?
The case was dismissed.
What were you in jail for?
Marijuana plants on the property, a rental.
Oh, I've been a lawyer for 50 years. I never heard that was a violation of the penal law. You mean you were arrested for growing marijuana?
I was arrested for, they figured that the person was growing.
Don't tell me what they figured. I don't want to know what they figured.
Yeah,
you were
case was
arrested.
dismissed.
You were arrested for growing marijuana.
I don't recall the charges as growing marijuana. I believe it was for the guy possession of marijuana, which was dismissed.
So you were, I just want to know who I'm dealing with. So what you're telling me is you were arrested because somebody that you knew was in possession of marijuana.
No, I have 87 acres with 5 tenants on it. I live on one of the houses, and one of the back houses had marijuana, and the police had actually arrested everybody on the press.
So you were arrested for
possession of
marijuana?
Yes, yes, which was dismissed.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Your bank statement would show me whether or not you had $5,000 in cash in the bank, right?
She wouldn't put the dollar
right.
in. She put a bunch of X's.
I don't care what she put in. Listen, I'm slicker than you are. That's why I'm here and you're there.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Bill Jones says former friend Ethan Locks owes for undersuing, claiming Bill failed to perform work he paid him for.
Now, did he ever give you your money back?
He gave it to me in a form of checks.
How much later?
A little over a year later. He gave me the money back in November, and I gave him the money a year earlier in September.
Do you have those checks with you?
I do.
I'd like to take a look at them. Okay, and when you went to try to cash these, he had put a stop payment on them, or?
The bank didn't tell me why. I went in, I walked into the bank because I didn't want to deposit them and then have them bounce and have to cost me money.
Just a second. Do you still maintain a bank at this Wells Fargo?
Yes, Your Honor.
Is it the same account number?
Yes, I have letters from the bank for you showing.
I'd like to take a look at them.
Yes, Your Honor. One will show you I'm an outstanding and that when I placed the stop payment was the final day when he didn't show up.
This letter is dated January 11th. It indicates that you currently have an account. Doesn't tell me what the balance is.
It says since 2005.
What?
The account's been open since 2005, it says.
Yeah. It doesn't tell me how much money you had in there. It doesn't tell me how much money you had in there
the bank provided.
On September of 2016. You have a bank statement in September of 2016, sir.
And it shows.
Your bank statement in September of 2016 would show me whether or not you had $5,000 in cash in the bank, right?
She wouldn't put the dollar in
right.
it. She put a bunch of X's.
I don't care what she put in. Listen, I'm slicker than you are. That's why I'm here and you're there. All you would have to bring to me is not a bunch of X's, is a bank statement showing me in September of 2016, when you wrote checks to him in the amount of $5,000, that you had $5,000 in the bank. That's easy.
I have texts as proof that he lost the $2,000 checks from him.
Just a second.
And then he got a second check.
Just a second. Would that be easy? Did you have $5,000 in the bank?
Yes, and overdraft.
So the answer is you didn't. Hey, slick. So the answer is you didn't have $5,000 in the bank.
I had more than $5,000, and I keep a balance of above.
That's not what I asked you. You said to me in overdraft. You muttered in overdraft. I said to you, did you have $5,000 in cash in this bank? It's very easy.
Yes, Your Honor, I did.
Good. We're going to come back here as soon as you get me Wells Fargo. Know them well. They're going to fax it right over to you. You're going to call them and authorize them to show me that in September of 2016, you had $5,000 in the bank.
Yes, Your
Great.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
My question to you, Mr. Jones, is as follows. Very careful with your answer. I want to know how I have two checks here, one for 2 and one for 3.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. In a case earlier today, Bill Jones says former friend Ethan Locks owes for a loan to pay legal fees. Ethan is countersuing, claiming Bill failed to perform work he paid him for.
Just to recall case 412 in the matter of Jones versus Locks.
Thank you.
Parties are reminded you're still under oath. You're welcome, Judge.
All right, Mr. Locks, you have a document for me?
I have a couple, Your Honor.
Well, I just need the one document that I asked you for, which was a bank statement that in September of 2016, when you wrote these checks, you had a $5,000 balance in your account.
I have $5,000 available. And which date
No.
was
I didn't say available. Was it $5,000 with a line of credit or without a line of credit?
It was in the overdraft. And it's right here on the papers from Wells Fargo and a statement from Wells Fargo and them showing that the check.
I want to know what the balance was in your account.
At the beginning balance was $6,265.35. But they state here that if anything was to be cashed or attempted to cash at the overdraft.
All I want to see is, want to look at your statement.
I understood, but I wasn't sure what exact date he said that he went to cash the checks because I have text here saying that he didn't have the check, that it was misplaced. So I gave him a replacement check for $3,000.
Just, may I see the
one check was to replace the other.
Well, that's sort of odd because something's just not reconciling with me. On September the 15th, you gave him a check for $2,000.
With no name on it.
Just a second. Correct. That was check number 269.
Correct.
1 week later, you gave him a check, according to your checks, 118.
Correct. I have multiple checkbooks that I write up. One is my ranch and one is my house in Mill Valley, where I stay at. And that's where I had been. So I left the check for him there at the ranch to pick up. If you take time and you read our texts with each other, he states in there that he was going to deliver gravel and never showed up. And the money was for gravel.
First, would you let me see the bank statement?
Sure. Yes, ma'am. Here's the bank statements and other stuff the bank asked to give to you. And if you continued it, they would give you a letter showing the checks were never scanned or attempted to be cashed. Here's proof he also received money towards the gravel, which he never showed up at the road base.
I don't know who he's talking to. So on September the 15th, which is the first day you wrote the check, you had $409.52.
With $9,000 overdraft.
That's what it says. On the day you wrote him the check for $2,000, you had a balance in your account of $510.52. I've circled it. It says
Correct.
ending balance.
Correct.
On the 23rd, when you wrote him allegedly a replacement check,
which is true,
you had an ending balance of $359.18. That's your balance. That's what your bank says.
Okay. And the overdraft balance?
Listen, we discussed hours ago when I sent you to your bank. I said, did you have the money in your account? And you muttered under your breath with overdraft. And I said, don't tell me overdraft, and my hearing isn't so good. I said, did you have, without the overdraft, over $5,000 in your account? And you said yes.
In the month of September, it's true.
No, that's not. Hey, you know what I'm talking about.
Well, Your Honor, if I wouldn't have answered that way and brought you documents of that, nor would I bring you documents showing that the money was for gravel and that he received $1,035 and agreed to deliver the gravel.
I did not.
Now, my question to you, Mr. Jones, is as follows. Very careful with your answer.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by Judy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Now, I want to know how I have two checks here, one for 2 and one for 3.
When I first, his friend or where I buy my hay said that he'd saw him, that he was out of jail and they'd seen him, so blah, blah. So I went over to his house and I asked him to pay me the $5,000 that he owed me, that I'd loaned him. And he went into his house, he came out with one check. And he told me that that's all he had, but if I come back within a week or less, he would have the rest of the money. So I waited, and then I went back, and he gave me that check. So then I took the checks, and I walked them to the bank. The bank said they could not cash them and didn't tell me why.
Does your brother know anything about this transaction from his personal information or just what you told him?
No. The only reason he's here is because we wanted to know where I got the money, and he had money in the account.
Listen. Anybody who tells me that they're paying people under the table to do work because they don't have a green card is not going to lie to me about why they have the cash. You could have made up a lot of different stories about why you paid in cash. but that would actually not have been one of them. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Counterclaim is dismissed.
Excuse me, step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the...
Happy. She made the right decision.
It is what it is. Stories, people tell stories and what they are and what goes on in life.
My feeling is if you tell the truth, you don't have to make up a lot of stories.
He said he lost one check. The proof is in the text messages.
Because he wouldn't pay me back. He told me to take a hike when I went to get my money back.
But hopefully in the long run, everybody will learn their lesson and you need to get a contract.
No more loans. Absolutely no more loans.
I had went to peacefully try to resolve and getting my television back.
How do you peacefully resolve it? You know I'm not believing you, right?
A former friend set in return.
How did you get her address?
A mutual friend of ours had provided it.
You stalked me.
Does she also have trouble with the truth?
Being the friend that she was, I had...
You're making up a story now because I can tell. That's my gift.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Troyana Rodriguez is suing her former friend, 23-year-old Nishaya Swindeman, for the return of a TV, a broken phone, and gas money.
Order. All rise. Now it's case number 397 on the calendar in the matter of Rodriguez versus Swindeman. Good, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Ms. Rodriguez, what I read is a complaint that suggests that you and the defendant, who were friends and perhaps in a relationship for a brief period of time, had a falling out. And during the time that you were friends, whatever relationship that was, according to your complaint, you brought a television set that was yours to the defendant's house.
Yes.
When did you do that?
That was in June of 2016, excuse me.
Is that right?
No.
When was it?
It was June of 2015.
That sound right?
No.
Okay. To what address did you take the television set? To what address did you take the television set? You know the address?
It would have been in the Powderhorn community.
August of 2015.
Got it?
Yes. Yes.
So it was 2015 that you brought the television set to her house?
Correct.
Better. And in what month and year did you ask her for the television back?
I asked her back for the television in July of 2016.
Why was that so difficult for you to tell me?
It was a little bit of confusion with the...
Well, that's no confusion. If you asked for it back a month later, well, that sounds to me as if it was perhaps a loan for some reason, which we'll get into. If she had the television for over a year, it may suggest something else. Do you understand? So let's try to give me answers that are truthful rather than those that create a story for you.
Yes,
Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, in what month and year did you purchase this television set?
The television set was purchased back in August of 2011.
So now the television in August of July or August of 2016 would have been 5+ years old.
Correct.
And tell me what kind of television this was.
It was a Philips Eco 32 LED.
And do you have a receipt for that television?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to take a look at it.
There's that. And then that is the credit card statement in which I purchased the TV.
No, I just want to see receipt for it.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so you purchased this, according to this receipt, for $389, and when you brought it over to her house, it was 4 years old.
Yes.
Now, where were you living at the time?
I was living at my parents'.
And where was this television?
The television was at my home. When I was staying with them, I had purchased another.
Their own TVs?
Yes.
So this was one that you were not using?
Right, it was
one that you were not using?
Correct.
You upgraded. Now, I want you to tell me the circumstance, because now you want the TV back. Had a kerfuffle. I'm not interested in an awful lot here. This is the main thing that creates this lawsuit. So, according to you, she asked to borrow it?
Yes.
Tell me the circumstances surrounding her asking to borrow the TV.
The circumstances were that she could, being the friend that she was, I had...
You're making up a story now because I can tell. That's my gift.
Okay, all right.
That's my gift.
All right,
it's all going over here.
All right. She asked to borrow the TV, in which I agreed upon. When I asked for it back, though, I expected it to be returned.
Even you don't believe that. I said, what were the circumstances? You know I have friends. And sometimes if I go to their house, I'll bring a bottle of rosé. I'll bring a bundt cake. But I actually have never brought over a TV to someone's house. Now, I've upgraded televisions over a period of time. Sometimes you move and you say, well, you know, this one was fine, but I could use a bigger one. And you have all these old TVs that are worth zero.
Sure.
It's worth zero. If you went to sell it, you'd be able to sell it for $25, maybe at a flea market. So now, since I don't believe you, I'm going to ask her the circumstances surrounding you bringing over the television set. Got it? Go.
I actually did not ask her for the television set. We were very close friends at the time. We had this thing where we made candy for shows we went to, which is like the beaded bracelets. She used to come over all the time because she was, I call her an almost functioning alcoholic, where she'd get off of work and have nowhere to go, so she'd come to my tiny house and get drunk there. She just came over one day with a TV in hand and a box of beads, and that was the last that...
Well, did you ask her why she brought the TV?
She said because we didn't have like an adequate Netflix, or we couldn't watch things together, so she brought over an entire TV.
What kind of TV did you have in your house?
I think I had like a computer screen monitor. It was maybe smaller than the one in the corner there.
And when she came over for the next year, did you watch TV on this TV?
Yeah. She was at my house several times. She had my spare key. She used the TV at my house as well.
I never had a spare key to your house.
Yeah, that's a lie.
Never.
Listen to me.
Yes, ma'am.
Never do that.
Yes, ma'am.
Is TV still working?
It was the last time I saw it.
Where is the TV now?
She introduced me to my last boyfriend, and it was a very abusive relationship. He tried to kill me, so I just left everything in the home. I don't know what happened after that.
And when did that happen?
That was March of 2016.
You had no contact with this television, with this 32-inch television.
Exactly.
When was the argument you had with the plaintiff?
June of 2016.
June, after that. So I assume that you were still friends before that.
We were still friends on the basis of people knew our relationship together, and they came to me every time she was in an alcoholic binge. Or
I just wanted, did you have contact with her?
Yes.
You did. Were you aware that she had been in a relationship with someone that terminated? Just look at me.
Can you
Don't
repeat
think
the-
of how this is going to
no,
help
can
your
you repeat the
story.
Can you repeat the
Just,
question, please?
Want me to repeat the question?
Yes, ma'am.
So you can process it.
Yes. No.
Were you aware that she had been in a relationship with a man that terminated?
Yes, I had introduced them
Fine.
to each other.
So you were aware that in March of 2016 she left that relationship?
It was actually February.
Before?
Yes.
Great. And did you know where she went to live?
She didn't go anywhere. She actually still lived in that apartment. When the case happened with them, restraining order was put against him, so all of his belongings were still in the home that they lived in on University, the home that I actually continuously went to, and my TV was still there.
She says she hasn't seen the TV since March of 2016. Is that right?
I moved out of the house and a police escort come and start taking his things around June. I feel like it might have been May, actually.
Okay. You don't have the TV anymore?
No.
And the TV has no value. So I actually don't believe you that this was a loansy. I think that you got a new TV. This TV was valueless. Even if it had a value, today's value, maybe today's value a year later, maybe somebody would buy it at a garage sale for 25 bucks. I'm not awarding you anything. Okay, let's go to the next item of business. The next item of business is a cell phone. Now, I want you to be careful, Miss Rodriguez, because so far I didn't believe the first story you told me. So that makes your testimony suspect. You want to tell me the day and date first that your cell phone got broken?
It was October 6th.
October 6th, what year?
2016.
Where?
It was at her apartment. Her different apartment. She had moved to Powderhorn.
Now I'm going to ask you a really important question, Ms. Rodriguez. Easy enough to verify. In October of 2016, when you were in the defendant's house, did you see your TV?
No.
Right. Perfect.
No.
Perfect.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
She told you to get out. I don't have your TV.
She basically dragged me outside.
Did she tell you to leave her home?
No. No.
Ms. Rodriguez, I don't believe you.
And later today,
he has the right of way, and you were making a left turn and cut him off.
He was behind the truck, and he went around the truck like a bat out of hell and hit me. The truck even waved me out because I was
He has the right of way.
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Troyana Rodriguez says former friend Nashaya Swindeman owes for a TV, a broken phone, and gas.
You want to tell me what you were doing at her house on October 6th?
I had went to peacefully try to resolve and getting my television back. My sister had gone off to college, and I had wanted to give her that TV to use during college.
Okay, but you didn't see the TV there.
I didn't see it there.
Right.
I tried to peacefully resolve.
Oh, how do you want to peacefully resolve it? How do you peacefully resolve it? You know I'm not believing you, right?
Correct.
You know I'm not believing you.
Sure.
Okay. So you got to the house. When immediately preceding October 6th, had you gone to the defendant's house before?
No.
No. You mean October 6th was the first day you were ever at her new apartment?
Yes.
Is that right?
Yes.
Okay. How did you get her address?
A mutual friend of ours had provided it.
Okay.
You stalked me.
Now, let me go back a second to this other nonsense today. Now, tell me when you believe she owes you money for what trip? When did you go on a trip that she owes you gas money for?
We had went to it.
Day and date.
We had went on a trip in June of 2016 to a festival in Michigan.
June 2016. Okay. And who drove?
I did.
So you picked her up?
Yes.
Did she go into the house?
No.
Let's get back to the phone. October 6, 2016, you went to her house to, according to you, resolve the issue of the TV, which you didn't see in the house. And?
It went very, very badly.
Well, no, I want you to tell me what happened. You went in there and you said to her, she said to you, did you call first before you went over?
No.
So you went over unannounced. What time?
It would have been at 4 p.m.
It was later than that.
What time?
I think it was like 5:36. I was just getting off of work.
Okay, keep going.
So I had gone in, she had let me into the apartment, in which a fight escalated. She had...
No, I want you to tell me what you said to her and what she said to you. She was coming home from work.
I said once again from the text messages that I sent her, it had been a really long time. All I would like is for my TV back. I would like to be done with this friendship and to call it quits after that. She didn't like that fact, so then it escalated into a scuffling match where she actually physically dragged me out of the apartment.
I don't have your TV?
Yes, that's what she told me. I didn't see it in her apartment.
And you said to her, Just a second. Don't make it up. She said to you, I don't have your TV. Look around my apartment. I don't have your TV anymore. And what did you say to her?
It just basically, I just started announcing that I was really upset with the fact of that she would be this spiteful towards me when I was being nothing but helpful.
What were you being helpful about?
Helpful by letting her use my TV, transporting her to the...
You gave her the TV. A year before. You changed your mind.
I didn't give her the TV.
Okay. Yes, you did.
No, I
okay,
didn't.
So you come in, you see there's no TV. She says, I don't have your TV anymore. What else were you fighting about, Miss Rodriguez?
It was just that specifically, how spiteful that she was in this entire relationship. Friendship. Oh, heck.
Don't.
I don't swing that way.
Don't speak to
Not my type.
Just a second. Don't.
Excuse me. Sorry.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Did you ever tell them that you would pay for the damage to the car?
No.
Did she ever tell you that you would pay for the damage to the car?
She actually made a down payment of $200.
That wasn't for the car.
What was it for?
She was harassing me, texting me over and over and over.
That's ridiculous.
Real case. Brianna Rodriguez says former friend Nashia Swindeman owes for a TV, a broken phone, and gas.
Go ahead.
I had recited that she had been very spiteful. That
I heard she'd been very spiteful. Okay, and she told you to get out. I don't have your TV.
And then it started turning into a shoving match.
Well, how did that come about? She told you, get out. I don't have your TV. You had to leave.
She kept throwing a lot of slurs at me. She kept pushing me and shoving me, and then eventually it just got into a scuffling match where she basically dragged me outside. She went back into the apartment, came out with my phone, threw it, hit the pavement, shut the door.
Did she tell you to leave her home?
No.
You mean she was pushing you out the door, not telling you to get out?
No.
Miss Rodriguez? I don't believe you. I don't think I'm ever going to figure out exactly what this case is about, and quite frankly, I don't care. I'm not wasting another second worth of time over a 5-year-old television set that you gave her as a gift. We're done. Your case is dismissed.
Excuse me, step out.
Things change and you move on.
She had been bothering me for a long time. She had an alcoholic problem. I just really needed this to be over.
I used to be, but I got off of that bandwagon and now I'm sober.
It was a dark time. She was a different person then.
You know, good riddance, have a nice life, and you move on.
I just want her to leave me alone.
And now, the next case.
Cry. Step forward.
Cassandra Hebert is suing motorist Nina Cry for damages to her car caused by an accident on the road.
Miss Cry, you loaned your car to probably this person back in 2015, and there was a car accident. You were not in the car, is that correct?
I was driving his car.
You were not in the car?
Correct.
On the date of the accident, stand up, please. On November 15th, 2015, who was your insurance company?
It was Farmers.
And was the car fully insured on that date?
Yes.
Great. You can have a seat. Tell me about the accident.
On November 2015, I let Aaron borrow my car to go pick up a friend.
You lent him the car?
Yes, ma'am.
So you weren't driving?
No.
You weren't in the car?
No.
Sit down. You were driving?
Yes, ma'am.
Were you living together at the time?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you still living together?
Yes, ma'am.
Do you rent a room?
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of work do you do?
I'm do heating and air conditioning.
Okay, go over there and show me what happened.
Okay, this is me here in the orange car. I was about 40 feet back here. Miss Cry was over here on Juniper Street. I was doing about 35 miles an hour on the main street, headed east. When this truck here slowed, she couldn't turn onto the street here, so I was still in the inside lane here and was going to pass the truck, and she pulled out, and I hit her right in the driver's side door.
So, go back there. Tell me your last name.
West.
Mr. West. So what you're telling me is you couldn't see past the truck.
Correct.
And she says that the truck waved you on to go around him.
No, that was Miss Cry.
The truck waved me out to go out. I was in the clear.
Because the truck couldn't make the turn?
Because he was behind the truck.
But I wasn't behind the truck.
You didn't see him behind the truck?
I saw him behind the truck.
No, you didn't see him behind the truck.
That's why I thought I was in the clear.
You were so, go over there. The truck told you to make a turn.
I was coming out trying to make a left.
No. You're pointing to trees. You were coming out from where to make a turn?
Off Juniper to take a left on the start.
You were coming to an intersection. You wanted to make a turn, so the person going straight has the right of way.
Mm-hmm.
That's not that's a yes.
Yes, ma'am.
So the plaintiff had the right of way.
Yes.
And you made a left turn, cutting him off.
No, he was behind the truck, and the truck even saw that he was behind me. That's why the
don't
truck...
tell me what the truck saw.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Close captions. Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, he has the right of way, and you were making a left turn and cut him off. That's what it looks like.
He was behind the truck.
He can't be behind. How could he be behind the truck?
Because he was behind the truck, and he went around the truck like a bat out of hell and hit me. The truck
has
even
the right
waved
of
me
way.
out. The truck even waved me out because I was
He
in the
has the
clear.
right of way. Okay, go back. Okay, is there a police report?
Yes, ma'am.
I'd like to see it. Vehicle 1 was turning left, and vehicle 2, that was your vehicle, going straight forward.
Correct.
Can I see pictures of the car, please?
Yes. I also have this paper from her insurance company at the time that states that we were not at fault.
I'd like to see it. You have anything from your insurance company?
It's just our insurance policy.
I'd like to see it. What kind of car is your car?
A Mazda 626.
Tell them that you would pay for the damage to the car.
No.
Did she ever tell you that she would pay for the damage to the car?
She actually made a down payment of $200.
When?
In December of 2015.
That wasn't for the car.
What was it for?
It's because she was saying that she had a kid and lost her job and...
What did you didn't know her before this accident?
She was harassing me, texting me over and over and over.
That's ridiculous. What's the car worth?
$1,250.
Where's the car now?
It got scrapped.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,250. We're done. Thank you.
Oh, you may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It was pretty fair.
Just to be more cautious.
I wasn't at fault.
They didn't have insurance at the time.
She was saying that she lost her job, that she had a kid, that she was a lawyer.
I lost out on getting a job. I didn't lose a job.
I had to change my number because she was harassing me, texting me so much.
I guess if trying to get my money was harassment, then I'm guilty.
You drove off with the ATV. You bought it.
Selling his off-road vehicle left him stuck.
How much were you asking for this ATV?
$3,400.
It didn't make any difference to him because he stopped payment on the check.
Now this buyer is in for a bumpy ride.
He told me that he would happily take it back if there's anything I did not like.
Is that what's good for you?
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. David Motzko is suing 19-year-old Zachary Bergeron for stopping payment on a check for an ATV he sold him.
Order. All rise. It's case number 377 on the calendar in the matter of Motzko versus Bergeron. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Sir,
How old are you?
19.
What do you do for a living?
Right now
It's not an answer.
I'm doing construction.
How many days a week? It's not an answer.
5.
For whom?
My friend's family.
Who's this?
That's my friend Noah. He's my witness in this case.
It's not going to be good for you. You answered an ad that Mr. Motzko put on Craigslist for an ATV, and you went to his house in September. Do you remember the date in September?
No, ma'am.
What was the date in September?
It was Labor Day of September. It was a Monday.
What did you need an ATV for?
To go riding with my friends.
How much were you asking for this ATV?
$3,400.
The defendant came to look at it,
Yes, ma'am.
and he agreed to pay you the $3,400 ATV.
In 2012,
How much did you pay for it?
I paid $3,500 for it.
Well, explain to me how it only depreciated $100 since you bought it 4 years ago.
Because I put a snorkel kit on it, a radiator relocator kit on it, aftermarket tires and rims, and the engine has also been rebuilt. So I was wanting to get a boat, so I was selling that to buy a boat.
That's the price he agreed to.
Yes.
Sounds a little much to me after 4 years, but that's the price that he agreed to. It didn't make any difference to him because he stopped payment on the check.
Correct.
After he left your premises with the ATV. Is that right, sir?
Yes.
And you never met him before?
No, ma'am.
So this is an arm's length transaction. And what the plaintiff said to you was, pay careful attention. I'll take the check. I'm holding on to the title. When the check clears, I'll give you the title. That sounds like a normal thing that this normal person would say to you, right?
Yes.
And that's what he said, not this nonsense that you wrote in your answer.
He told me that...
No, now you're thinking. Now you're thinking. Remember what you wrote? Yeah. Remember what you wrote in your answer?
Yes,
Do you
I
remember? Are you sure?
Yes.
Let's see. Tell me what you said.
I told him that I would write him the check, I'd give him the check as collateral to take the ATV home, and that he would mail me the title, and he told me that it was in perfect condition, nothing was wrong with it, or if there's anything I did not like.
Is that what you told him?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. Gave him a check, he gave you the merchandise that you purchased, and then your friend was with you, right?
Not this one, but a different one. He was there when it blew on me.
Where was the friend that you went with?
He could not come, but he gave me a written statement.
I don't do written statements. I'm not going to take his testimony either. You drove off with the ATV.
Yes, ma'am.
You bought it. Now, he canceled the check.
Yes, ma'am.
Because Monday the banks were closed, you couldn't go in. So what did you do? You went in on Tuesday?
I tried to go Tuesday to my credit union because I also have a credit union. I've cashed other banks that are also credit unions at my credit union before, but for some reason they would not cash this check. His bank is all the way in Merritt Island, which is approximately 2 hours from my house. So he's a very nice kid. So I asked him if he could bring me the cash and we could just exchange title and bill of sale then. He said absolutely. So he sent me a text message.
On what date?
That was on Wednesday of that same week.
So now he's had the ATV Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday.
Yes, ma'am.
And you have text messages to establish that.
Correct.
Okay, so on Wednesday he wasn't complaining, moaning, anything else about the condition of the ATV?
No, it's still running good.
Fine. Go ahead. Right. Show me.
And also just got it serviced. Those are text messages.
You pay to fix it. I keep it. I'm not reading all these emails. All I want to see is the emails.
Oh, those are text messages. That's the only way.
Text messages, whatever they are. The text message where he said he has it. If you want to come and exchange it for cash.
Okay.
That's what I want to see. On the date.
On your phone, man.
We can use text messages to the phone?
Sure. Bring it up.
I just want to see the date. He picked up the ATV on Monday. I want to see the first date he complained to you that something was wrong with the car. So if you date it back, if he said to you on Wednesday, I can give you the cash, that means that he was still not complaining of any damage, and his friends had been hopping around on the ATV. By the way, how did they get it from your house to where he was in Rhode Island?
Merritt Island, in the back of his pickup truck. Okay, so I called him and let him know. So he actually sent me, said, hey, I got the money. I'll head to your house around 6.
What date was that?
This is September 8th.
September 8th, which was what date?
It was a Wednesday.
May I see that? Hey, I got the money. This is Thursday, September 8th, not Wednesday, September 8th. Thursday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Hey, I got the money. I'll head out to your house around 6. And I just need that check, the bill of sale, and the title. Sounds good. Then on Thursday, September 8th at 1:55 p.m., there's no oil plug in the bike. Hey, is it okay if I just bring the bike back to you? And he said he has problems with the bike. He says, I'm not taking the bike back. I will help you fix what you did, though. Listen, you put the wrong plug in the bike, so I'll be a nice guy and bring the bike back, and I would appreciate it if I could bring my check and ID to your mechanics on my way to your mechanics right now. There's a thing called an oil light, and you didn't pay attention to it and ran it with no oil. Not taking something back from a kid who knows nothing about ATVs. I'm being nice and helping you fix it. He brought back the bike?
Yes.
And you had it fixed?
No, my mechanic, they tore it down, actually. They gave me a price just for parts because it is a family friend. They were present.
All I want to know is...
I'm sorry, $2,500. And actually a shop, the dealer, is going to charge $4,800 to fix it. So I'm trying to be as nice as possible to him.
Well, you are, because otherwise you're really entitled to the entire $3,400.
Exactly.
You are. You understand that? For the plaintiff in the amount of $2,500, which is what you're requesting. We're done.
Thank you, ma'am.
Why does that excuse you? They step out.
I was honestly I felt really bad for him because it was just a really unfortunate situation. And
I went down the street with it, and it blew on me, and I had to push it back.
You know, I tried to be as fair as possible. You know, things happen in life.
And all the oil was all over the street.
Honestly, I have no idea. You know, just bad luck.
And I went to put more oil in it, and there's no plug, and he told me he put a boat plug in it.
I put an aftermarket plug. It was not a boat plug. It's an aftermarket plug for stripped oil plugs.
No light came on.
And I've had that thing in there for 2 years, never had a problem with it.
He told me that it was not my fault that he put a boat plug in there and that it came out and it blew.
Had other people ride it, had it in 4 feet of water. Never an issue.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Donovan versus Ayers, step forward.
22-year-old Nevin Donovan is suing Jared Ayers for crashing into his parked car while he was driving drunk.
Mr. Donovan, prior to November 2nd of this year, had you ever met Mr. Ayers?
I have not.
And this, I assume, is your brother?
Yes.
You and your brother were looking at a house to rent? Or
an apartment, yes.
An apartment to rent? And that was on the 2nd of November of this year. According to you, while you were inside, you heard a crash outside. You came outside and saw that the defendant had hit your parked car. And it appeared as if his airbag imploded or was severely damaged. That's what you're suing for,
yes,
the damages to your car. Mr. Ayers has a counterclaim for his medical bills. He was seriously injured, and he says that the accident happened when you were carelessly backing out of a driveway and didn't see him and plowed into his car. He's counterclaiming for his medical bills. I assume you have a police report
yes, Judge.
That day, and I assume you have your medical reports,
yes.
Not your bills, the reports from the hospital.
I have the bills only. I don't have the reports.
I'm not interested in the bills.
All right. Then no, Your Honor.
If you don't have the report from the EMT that took you to the hospital, I'm not interested in your counterclaim. Do we understand each other?
Yes, Your Honor.
Because the medical reports would tell me whether or not you were drunk, right?
Yes.
Because they would tell me whether the emergency room people at the time of your admission to the hospital on November 2nd said that you were incoherent or high or drunk, right?
Yep.
Right. So why don't you tell me what happened, Mr. Donovan?
Well, my brother and I were inside of our new apartment with our landlord going over our final agreement for renting. That's when we heard 2 loud bangs. We looked out the window and saw a truck that was crashed in the woods. So all 3 of us ran outside. We heard a cry for help. So I told my landlord to call 911, and me and my brother assisted him out of the truck.
That was him?
Yes.
He was in a truck?
Yes.
Airbag exploded?
Went off because his head hit the windshield. There is a big mark where his head hit. So I noticed he had head trauma, so I helped him across the street and told him to sit down because I know we have head trauma. You shouldn't be standing. That's when my brother noticed the damage to my Mustang. I walked over and saw it, and I then waited for the police to arrive so I can give my statement.
May I see pictures of the car?
Those first pictures are the location, and then the other pictures are the actual damage.
Well, you have pictures of the woods where his truck ended up?
That's where his truck ended up, yes.
Now, may I see the police report, please?
Yes, you may.
Have insurance when you were driving, Mr. Ayers?
No, Your Honor.
Did they suspend your driver's license?
Yes.
Well, you told the police that you swerved to avoid a deer.
Your Honor, I didn't remember what had happened after the impact. Oh, the impact of the airbag.
Well, you didn't tell that to the police. You made up a story. The story was, told me he swerved to avoid a deer and struck a parked car. He told me that his truck bounced off the sidecar and continued across the street into the woods. I could smell the odor when he spoke and noticed his eyes were bloodshot and glassy. I asked how much he had to drink, and he said nothing. I asked him again, and he said 1 shot. I asked him if he would be willing to submit to testing to determine his ability to operate a motor vehicle, and he told me he wasn't going to take any tests, and he was done talking. That sounds all pretty coherent to me.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today,
your whole defense is that you paid, and therefore there was no basis to have the car repossessed. Look at me. Don't look over there. Show me proof that you paid.
I don't have any proof with me.
Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach?
real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Nevin Donovan says an intoxicated Jared Ayers crashed into his parked car. Jared is countersuing for his medical bills.
I asked how much he had to drink, and he said nothing. I asked him again, and he said 1 shot. I asked him if he would be willing to submit to testing to determine his ability to operate a motor vehicle, and he told me he wasn't going to take any tests, and he was done talking. That sounds all pretty coherent to me. So, you have no case for your medical bills. You were driving drunk without insurance. Yeah, I know. When did you purchase the car, Mr. Donovan?
Mid-September.
And how much did you pay for it? Don't give me a number.
$3,000.
Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. Thank you very much. We're done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
I gave him a week to recover from the initial crash because I figured he was probably in the hospital.
Well, I was heading home, coming back from the store.
And I called him, and he seemed pretty sorry.
He decided he was going to pull out in front of me after I'd flicked my high beams at him.
He said, just give me a week to come up with the money, and I'll pay you.
As he was leaving the premises, I swerved to avoid him.
So I gave him the week to come up with the money, called him back again.
Flipped his car, and the airbag went off.
And I don't know if it was his father or his brother answered the phone.
He was trying to hustle me for more money than what the car was worth.
And he told me to pretty much stop calling and to contact his lawyer.
And I found out what his initial quote was, and I said, that's it, no more.
Don't drive drunk.
Yeah, just watch out for scammers. They're all around.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of James versus Ings. Step forward.
Sarita James is suing her daughter, 20-year-old Justice Ings, for the costs associated with a Kia that was repossessed.
Ms. James, the defendant is your daughter.
Yes, ma'am.
And this case is about a car.
Yes, ma'am.
The time that you co-signed, and that was in what month and year?
Well, I co-signed for the car in April of 2016.
Okay. Shortly after she bought the car, according to she moved out. In what month did she move out?
I would have to say May 2016.
Okay. The car was repossessed, and the car was repossessed, according to your daughter, because you were instrumental in having the car repossessed. What your claim is that she did not make payments for 3 months on the car, and therefore the car was repossessed. And it was repossessed in August. Is that right?
She
is that
took
right?
the car from me in August.
In August. Now, missing, your defense is that your mother had no right to repossess the car because you had paid June and July's car payment. That's what you wrote in your answer.
Yes.
Right? You paid June and July. Say you were late in August, but you paid June and July. Certainly, the company would not have repossessed the car if you were just late in August. So now show me proof that you paid June and July.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Why are you smiling?
I'd rather smile than frown. It shouldn't be a harm in me smiling. I didn't know.
You'd rather smile than frown?
Right.
Is that what you said? You'd rather smile than frown?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Justice Ings owes for a Kia she helped her buy and was ultimately repossessed.
The company would not have repossessed the car if you were just late in August. So now show me proof that you paid June and July.
I don't have any proof with me.
Yeah, that's your problem. Where did you think you were coming today? To the beach? No. Your whole defense is that you paid car payments June and July, and therefore there was no basis to have the car repossessed. That's what you swore to in your answer. Look at me. Don't look over there. Now, do you need time to get the proof?
No.
So that you have no proof that you paid June and July?
Basically.
Basically. Basically is not an answer. Basically is a filler word. So the answer is you have no proof that you paid June and July.
Correct.
Good. Okay. They sold the car at auction?
Yes.
And how much is the deficit?
$10,917.
Why are you smiling?
I'd rather smile than frown.
What?
I'd rather smile than frown. It shouldn't be a harm in me smiling. I didn't know.
You'd rather smile than frown? Is that what you said? You'd rather smile than frown? Does your mother work? Does your mother work?
To my understanding, yes.
Well, you were living with her, with a kid.
No, I was the one working.
So your mother wasn't working?
When she was able to co-sign, she was working at the time, yeah.
You needed a co-signer, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why didn't you make June and July's car payment?
I did make June and July car payment.
Show me.
I can't show you. She know I made the payment.
All you have to do is show me that you made the payment. You either made the payment by going into a bank or it came out of a checking account.
Right.
I mean, how
And
did you
those
pay
banks,
for it?
I don't have my bank account. I closed both of them that I made the payment from.
That's okay. They can give it to you as long as it's in the last year.
I've tried to get it. They sent me the wrong statement. I got frustrated, and I was like, whatever. I know I paid it, so.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Have you been cheated? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Who paid June and July?
I did.
You have proof?
Well, I paid July and August.
May I see proof?
Yes.
What kind of work do you do, Miss James?
I'm in the medical field, medical billing, coding.
Have you?
Over 10 years.
What does your daughter do?
Right now, I'm not sure because we have not had a relationship. I have not been speaking with her, or I have not even seen my grandchild.
Okay. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $5,000. We're done. Thank you.
Thank you.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I initially called them because I can't make the payment. I have my own car payment to make.
I was shocked. I didn't know what happened. I knew it couldn't have been Kia because, like I said, I made a payment arrangement.
And being that I couldn't find anyone to take over the payments, I thought the best decision for me.
And when she called me saying that they was going to repossess the car, I knew that was a lie. She just didn't want me to have it.
Would be to call them and to have the car repoed.
She started this. It could have went a different way. It's not what was done, it's how we went about doing it.
Well, I took it however I could and when I could. So if that's the way I had to do it, then yes.
It's whatever. As long as she got the money, she can take care of it, clear her name with the car. I'm done.
Well, I'm hoping that this will at least give us an opportunity to reconcile.
I just want our bond to get back better. Like, I felt like I lost my best friend. Like, this was not worth me losing my relationship with her.
So that I can see my granddaughter and so that I can be in the lives of my daughter and my granddaughter.
There was something that was not satisfactory to you.
Several things.
Wig makers wanted her out of their hair.
I took the wig apart and reconstructed it. We fixed it.
She wasn't happy with it the second time either.
Were they in over their heads?
She was supposed to take measurements of my head to ensure that the wig would fit correctly. She didn't do that.
Is that correct?
Not with the measuring tape, no.
You did the wrong thing, Caitlin.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Abidemi Glasgow is suing salon owner Toyka Troutman Walker and stylist Kaylin Spooner for a refund for a custom-made wig.
Order. All rise. It's case number 394 on the calendar in the matter of Glasgow versus Troutman Walker Spooner.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated. Gentlemen, have a seat, please.
Miss Glasgow, the defendant made you a custom wig, and you want your money back.
Correct.
When did they make you the wig?
I went in to place the order for the wig in October.
And when was the wig delivered to you?
It was never delivered. That was November 25th.
Of 2015?
15.
And when you went in to pick it up, did you try it on?
I did.
And did you leave the shop with it?
No, I did not.
You left it there?
I did.
So there was something that was not satisfactory to you?
Several things.
Okay. And you left it there, and when did you go back and pick it up again?
In January that I went to go pick it up again.
January what?
I don't have the exact date in January.
How were you contacted that it was ready and that the adjustments were made to it? Did they call you? Did they send you an email?
She called me. She gave me a call.
You. On what date?
I don't know the date that she called me.
Do you have the date that you called her and said it was ready?
Yes, ma'am. We called her on January 10.
And do your records indicate what you did to the wig between November 25th and January 10th?
Yes, so what I did to the wig was I ended up, because she requested...
Don't tell me, just tell me what you did to it.
So I took the wig apart
and reconstructed it.
Well, if you took the wig apart and reconstructed it, it must have been not right on November 25th.
The edit she requested that she wanted done required me to take it apart.
Like what?
So this is a handmade wig, and this is the same type of wig that she received.
No. I don't want to see same type of wig. I want you to tell me.
Well, the edits that she wanted, so this is where the closure was set. She wanted it set further over me to take it apart because I had to move hair around.
Had that side part been part of her order when she came in?
It was slightly offset, which we agreed to, because if I moved it too far down, she wouldn't have enough hair on the side.
Just a second. So the answer is she had asked you to make it off to the side?
Yes.
And it wasn't initially made off to the side?
Not enough, no.
It was not? Okay, so you agreed with that, so you took it apart and you had to redo it?
Yes.
And then you were called on January 10th, and you picked it up on what date?
Can I give you a little bit more background
No.
to this? I went to go pick the wig up on the 9th. I have
January.
it right here.
I thought you said you didn't know.
It's right here. I found it. It's on the 9th that I went to go pick the wig up. There were several things that I requested, and this is the second time. When I originally went to go have the wig ordered, I asked for a wig that had a deep side part.
Listen to me. We're past that.
Okay.
You ordered the wig, it came in, you weren't satisfied, and they agreed to make an adjustment. Did you pay for the wig on November 25th?
I paid for the wig on October.
In October,
Correct.
October 20th. Okay. And the cost of the wig was how much?
$647.32.
Which you paid by credit card?
Correct.
Now then, came back, you went in on the 9th, not the 10th?
Correct.
And what happened on the 9th?
It was not correct. There were some not.
You wanted other adjustments made?
The adjustments that were supposed to be made.
Okay. And what happened on the 9th?
When I went in on the 9th, the wig still wasn't what I wanted. Caitlin told me that what was wrong was the part was on the wrong side and the closure still wasn't offset. She told me that you can easily part the hair on the other side, and if you want the deep part effect, you can just cock the wig to the side.
Who's Caitlin?
She's the stylist.
Is that you?
I'm Caitlin, yes.
At that point, I had waited so long to get this wig, had been back and forth, and
well, you only were there so far once.
I was there 2 other times before. A total of 4 times I was there.
You mean between October and January?
Correct. Because what was supposed to happen when I originally went in is that she was supposed to take measurements of my head to ensure that the wig would fit correctly the first time I went in. She didn't do that. I later on found out that she was supposed to do that. So I had to make another appointment to go in to have the measurements taken.
On what date did you go in to take the measurements?
Made an appointment with Caitlin to have the measurements taken, which she was 30 minutes late to.
Miss Glasgow, not interested. You went in, you ordered the wig, you made an appointment to go in and have your head measured. On what date did you go in and have your head measured?
She didn't show up for that.
What date did you go in to have your head measured?
December 11th.
So is what you're telling me that they delivered a wig to you without taking measurements of your head?
Correct.
So you went in, they gave you a wig on November 25th, but you didn't have measurements taken of your head until December 11th?
Correct.
Is that correct? Just listen to me. She comes in on October 20th. You delivered a wig to her on November 25th that was unsatisfactory. Did you schedule an appointment with her subsequently to take measurements of her head? The answer is either yes or no.
Yes.
Did you take measurements of her head on October 20th? The answer is, listen to me, the answer is either yes or no.
Not with the measuring tape, no. We tried, I put the wig cap on her head.
Nah, that's not the way you do it. You know that, and I know that. That's not the way you do it. Okay, so then what happened is back and forth, and it still didn't work. So you initially gave her a wig that was not a custom wig. It was a wig, but it was not taken to her specification, not to her measurements. Okay, you weren't happy with it.
Correct.
Anyway, you put a stop on your card, they took the money out of the account, then you said, I don't agree with that, then they put money back in your account, whatever. You sent the wig back to them.
Correct.
And ultimately told them, which did not go into in depth with this measurement, and you're out the money and you don't have the wig.
That's correct.
Yeah, right. Well, you did the wrong thing, Caitlin. I don't care what you're going to tell me. She did the wrong thing. You go in to buy a wig for almost $700, and there was no need to take, listen to me, madam, if there was no need to take measurements, then either Caitlin was just schmoozing her around when she said, come in and I'll take measurements of your head, with a tape measure.
No, ma'am.
Listen to me. Either she was just schmoozing her around and said, come back in December and I'll take measurements of your head, or she didn't take them the first time, which she should have. Yes, now.
Thank you.
No,
first,
did you make that wig?
Yes, we did.
No, not we. Did you make it?
Me personally,
Yes.
no. I own the salon, and I.
Just a second. Did you make the wig?
Yes, I made both of these.
Yeah, no, that's all I'm interested in. It's just her, not you.
Well, can I explain the part about Well, I have a contract here with Damien.
I don't care. If your salon,
Yes,
that's
ma'am.
why we're here.
Yes, ma'am.
If your salon, when you make a wig, a custom wig, what you do is take measurements.
No, ma'am. Not initially.
You mean you make a wig without taking measurements? You don't make a cap?
There are 3 cap sizes that are predetermined. And the predetermined cap size was tried on her head by the stylist. It did fit her. Asked us to make after we agreed that it was not offset enough for her.
Because it was not done to her specifications.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
So it was not done to her satisfaction.
No,
and of
to her
course, we're going to go above
specifications.
to her specs and satisfaction. We went above and said, okay, we're going to remake the wig. At that time, she did take measurements of her head. She did move and reconstruct the wig completely. In fact, she got another cap to remake the wig. So the way that it's done, the second time would be to the specifications of her head. So the first wig, we all agreed, was not satisfactory to her. So we fixed it. So in terms of giving her the money back and she's out of the wig.
She wasn't happy with it the second time either.
She wasn't happy with it the second time because of a different reason that she has not yet disclosed to any of us.
Same reason. What she fixed the first time was when she made the wig, it fit too far down on my neck. So when I went to go pick it up the second time, she had cut, I guess, one of the tracks off. The closure was still in the same position, and the part was still on the wrong side, which I have pictures to show you.
Can I? Yeah, I'd like
Can
to
I
see
let you know what
I'd like
this
to see-
picture is?
I'd like to see the picture.
This is where...
No, don't tell me. Just show me. Just show me. And show me the paid bill for it. Could you show these to the defendant, please?
Thank you.
You're supposed to have satisfied customers. What's your last name?
My name?
Yeah, last
Troutman
name.
Walker.
Ms. Walker, you're supposed to have satisfied customers. She wasn't happy. You didn't do the right thing the first time, and she wasn't happy with it the second time. I can see what she's talking about when she says that the bottom part was cut off.
I have photos as well, and I also have a agreement that
I don't care about the agreement. She's dissatisfied with your product.
I understand that it's hair. So when you go into a situation with hair and a custom unit, we will do everything we can to fix it. And we worked with her about fixing it, and we are still able to fix it. However, she signed an agreement prior to buying the wig, agreeing that she knows it's a custom unit, it cannot be returned, but we are willing to do it until it is correct.
It's
It
not
is
a career.
hair, we can't resell it.
It's not a career. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $647. Buying a wig should not be a career. You should be satisfied within 6 months. We're done. Thank you.
Judge.
All right, is that excused? You may step out.
We do everything that we can to please our clients.
It wasn't disheartening the first time, but the second time, and she told me that she reconstructed the wig and made it over, and it was obvious that she didn't.
No matter what you do.
I was done playing games. I just want my money back.
Oh, absolutely time to move forward. I have no hard feelings against the plaintiff at all.
Which I got, so that's it.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Principe versus Hawley. Step forward.
Candace Principe is suing her former son-in-law, James Hawley, for an unpaid loan to pay his bills.
Ms. Principe, the defendant is your former son-in-law.
That's correct.
And it's my understanding from reading the papers that you and your daughter do not enjoy a reasonable relationship. So your contact with your grandchildren is through the defendant.
It has been.
For how long?
Since about February 2016.
That's when you had a falling out with your daughter?
I had a falling out with my daughter in September of 15. And I hadn't seen my grandchildren for 5 or 6 months, so I contacted James to see if I could see him.
According to you, you loaned him $3,000.
That's correct.
Mr. Hawley doesn't deny that you gave him $3,000, but he says that's exactly what it was. It was a gift. There was no discussion about him repaying that money to you. Is that right?
That is correct.
Okay.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
What does your former mother-in-law do for a living?
Gamble.
So is that correct?
But I don't make any money, I lose money.
So you don't work?
No, ma'am.
So where did you get this $3,000 from?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Camden's Principe says former son-in-law James Hawley owes for a loan.
So let's go back. How old are you, sir?
36.
And how old are your children?
We have quite a wide variety. The oldest is 16.
Her grandchildren?
Her grandchildren are 16, 14, and 13.
Who do they live with?
The oldest lives with me, and the other two live with their mom.
Was there ever a time that all three of them visit with you or stay with you together?
No.
No. So that when the plaintiff came to visit the children, are you telling me that it was only one child at your home that she came to visit?
That lived with me, yes. The other two, they come with me every other weekend.
So would she see all three of them at
Yes.
your house? Well, that's what I asked you. So she would see all three of them when she came to visit you?
Yes.
Did you ever let her take the children out?
Yes.
Without you?
Yes, I did. And I was reprimanded by their mother for doing so.
Just a second. When she came to visit and you let her take them out for the afternoon, did you return them?
Yes.
Were they okay?
They were.
How many times did you let her do that?
Twice.
And when you say you were reprimanded by their mother, you were reprimanded by their mother who shares custody with you?
Correct.
Because she and her mother
Install TV and satellite service.
Why were you having financial difficulties?
I was hurt, not at work, and I was waiting for a disability claim to be approved. I wasn't getting paid for the duration of time that I was out.
Give me that period of time.
That was from May until October.
Are you back at work?
I am.
When did you go back to work?
October.
Did you ever get the disability claim resolved?
It was denied.
So you went back to work?
Shortly thereafter, yes.
And now it's 3 months later and you're still working?
Yes. After I returned to work, within a couple of days of me returning to work, Jennifer was laid off of work, which is normal for her work.
Who's Jennifer?
Jennifer, my witness.
Who is she?
She's my girlfriend.
I don't care about her. I mean, it's not that I don't care about you. You look like a perfectly nice person. So you ran into financial difficulty?
Yes.
And you told your former mother-in-law about that when she came to visit with the children?
Yes.
You told her that you needed money?
I didn't tell her that I needed money. She came by after, there was some visitation with the children. Candy's intent was, that she
No, tell me what her intent was. Her intent calls for the operation of your mind. Unless somebody tells you that they're having some financial difficulties, it's not the first thing that you might ask someone. Are you having financial difficulties? You say, how are you? How do you feel? All the other things that normal people usually say. Do you have any plans for tonight? I'm going to take the kids here. The reason that someone...
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
Tell me what the conversation was.
I was wondering whether we could set something up, a monthly payment, or do something.
Where did that conversation take place?
Telephone.
That's not correct, Your Honor.
Shh. I just want you to know, so far I'm unimpressed with you.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Camden's Principe says former son-in-law James Hawley owes for a loan.
So you told her that you were having financial issues?
Yes, she wanted to do something.
Don't tell me what she wanted to do. That calls for the operation of her mind. Do you understand?
Yes.
What she thinks, what she wished, what she hoped for, what she wanted, calls for you to crawl in here. And I'm not interested, neither is the law interested in your reading her mind, only in what you say to her and what she says to you. What does your former mother-in-law do for a living?
Gamble.
Well, she has to gamble with something. What does she gamble with?
Her money.
Money. And where does she get her money?
As far as I know, from gambling.
So she gambles as a profession?
That's what my understanding is, yes.
Is that correct?
No, ma'am. My spouse, he supports me. I do make money off gambling, but I don't support myself off of gambling.
What do you mean you do make money off of gambling?
Because we like to lose money.
So you don't work?
No, ma'am.
So where did you get this $3,000 from?
I had talked to my spouse, Dennis, here if we could loan James the money so we could pay his rent so he wouldn't get evicted.
What does he do?
He's a retired union heavy equipment operator, and I have filed for disability for my spinal conditions.
For your what?
I have spinal stenosis in my cervical and lumbar.
When was the last time you were employed?
To be 2 years ago.
Doing what?
House cleaning. I did that for 30 years.
Was that your own business, or did you work for somebody else?
I worked for my own business and working for other people.
Okay. Would you stand up, please? Tell me your last name.
Reiki, R-A-K-E.
Mr. Reiki, this is your wife?
Soon to be.
So she's your fiancée?
Yes.
How long have you lived together?
6.5 years.
Did you take out the money from a bank account in order to give it to her, to give to her former son-in-law?
Yes, ma'am.
When was that?
Approximately May of 2015.
No.
When?
This is June 2016.
Okay, June
Sorry.
2016.
Did you ever have any personal conversation with the defendant about paying you back?
In August.
Don't look at her. Look if you
I'm sorry,
think it's-
August of 2016.
Tell me what the conversation was.
I was wondering whether we could set something up, a monthly payment, or...
Okay, did you call him or did he call you?
He called me.
That's not correct, Your Honor.
Shh. I just want you to know, so far I'm unimpressed with you.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay, I want you to actually tell me exactly what he said to you and exactly what you said to him.
Okay, it started off, I was asking for some kind of arrangement to make a monthly payment.
And he said?
He said that was between him and Candy, and then I had nothing to do with...
So he said it was between himself and Candace.
Yes.
His former mother-in-law. And you said to him?
That I had loaned her the money and was wanting to figure something out on it.
And what did he say?
He said he knew I wasn't working and that there wasn't anything he could do at that time.
Because he wasn't working?
Right.
And what did you say to him?
I said, we've got to resolve this some way.
And he said?
And that was the end of the conversation, more or less.
Okay, have a seat. You owe her $3,000. You have to start to pay it. Do you understand? Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $3,000. We're finished.
Oh, you got excuse. You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
I'm glad that she saw it as it is.
Because she's a drug addict.
I can't believe that he would accuse me of being a drug addict.
And her own daughter won't allow her around her kids.
When I take my grandkids out to do things, I included his girlfriend's kids.
Well, what do you think is going to happen between the relationship now?
I believe that my daughter and I will hopefully get our relationship back.
There will be none.
That's what counts. I got to continue to see my grandkids, and I love my daughters.
A custody exchange brought out the worst in this mom.
I said, I'm not going to leave until you pay me that $200.
If you love your child, you don't create a scene, which is exactly what you did.
And she sees nothing good about her ex.
You have a father who is both interested, involved.
He's not involved.
That's your problem. You picked him. And if she's a neurotic broad, you picked her. And you chose to make a baby with her.
Judge Judy. You are about to enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Joel Knutson is suing his ex-girlfriend, Catherine Harrison, for damaging his guitar while dropping off their child.
Order. All rise. Knutson versus Harrison.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
Mr. Knutson, you and the defendant have a child together.
Correct.
A boy?
Yes.
Who's 8?
Technically 9.
9. Did you ever live together?
We did for just short of 6 years.
And that terminated when?
4 years ago.
So the boy was 5 at the time.
About 4, I think. Close to 5.
And subsequent to your separation, did you amicably reach a custody arrangement?
We reached a custody arrangement.
In court?
Yes.
And what was that arrangement?
I have about 45% custody, and she has the remainder.
So when is your son with you?
Every Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and then it's confusing. It works out to be the weekend before the 3rd and the 5th weekend. I have him Friday to Tuesday.
And that's been going on for how long?
3 years.
And do either of you pay child support?
I pay her child support.
How much?
It's about $260 a month, I believe. It's pretty minimal.
No, Your Honor.
Don't interrupt. Do you adhere to the visitation custody arrangement?
I take him. There are some Fridays I work late, and she chooses in our court order. It's left where the parent who can't have him has to let the other parent have first rights of refusal. So occasionally on Fridays I don't have him, but I take him all the other times.
You're a musician?
Correct.
That's how you support yourself?
That's my...
I'm an IT consultant. I work with other businesses to help them with their data systems.
Is that how you support yourself?
Yes.
Are you an independent contractor?
That's right.
Did you file taxes last year?
I did.
How much did you earn?
I don't remember. I don't know, 20,000.
Who do you live with?
I live with my son.
What other subsidies do you get to exist? Not existing on $20,000 a year.
I am, actually. I mean, I live in it's not as expensive in where we live as it is here in California, and sometimes we eat beans and rice, but we do okay. I get the $200 from Mr. Knutson, $216 from Mr. Knutson every month. I don't know, some months are tighter than other months, and I mean, we're certainly not rich.
You drive a car.
Yep.
What kind of car do you drive?
It's a Subaru.
What year?
It's a 05. I was given it by my mom when she bought a new car. She sold it to me for...
You live alone with your son and you pay rent?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Yes is the answer. And what's your rent?
$975 a month.
You have insurance for your car?
I do.
And how much is the insurance a month?
$40 or $50 a month.
With $1,000 a month rent, I'm not figuring out how you're working. I'll let it go. If you can see that there's a frustration that I have with your answer and with the scene that you dollars. Do you understand?
$200 is a lot of money.
I don't care if it's $200. I don't care if it's $3,000. If you love your child, an exchange of custody, you don't create a scene, which is exactly what you did, which is he's going to tell me about, which is what this case is all about. This is what the case is about, as far as I gather from the complaint and the answer. You say that he had agreed to give you $200 towards some daycare expense. According to what I'm reading, there was some discrepancy as to what time the child was to be brought to his father's house. There was texting back and forth between the two of you that day, which I'm sure one of you has to show me, where it was clear that there was not an agreement with regard to the $200. That be a fair statement?
Correct.
What time was the child to be brought to your house that day?
12 o'clock on Sundays, on Sunday visits.
What was the date?
It was the 12th of June.
And the arrangement is that you bring the child to his house on Sunday? Is that that's either a yes or a no? It's very easy for me to figure out. No, is he supposed to pick the child up from your house?
There's no formal arrangement as to who picks up and drops off. On that
on June the 12th, were you to bring your son to his
house? Yes, I was.
House?
On June the 12th, I volunteered to bring him.
So on June the 12th, you were to bring him to his house?
We were running late that day. I did bring him, but we were running late.
How late were you running?
By the time I got there, we were 17 minutes late.
That's not a big deal. 12:17. Were you at home at 12:17?
Your Honor, I was not. I asked Ms. Harrison if I could pick up our son the night before at her house because we had an engagement with the rest of our family an hour away at 1 o'clock.
1 o'clock on Sunday?
Correct.
Can I see that? Can I see that text?
The texts I have are just about her being late, and it actually does say that I offered to pick her up, or offered to pick him up somewhere here, I guess.
Well, that's what so you wanted to pick him up on the June 11th at night?
No, I wanted to pick him up at 12 o'clock noon on that Sunday.
You wanted to pick him up from her house at 12
Correct.
Noon. Did she respond to that text?
She did. She was running late, and I told her that I had to leave or I'd miss I would miss the family event.
Can I see those, please? Okay, so whatever it was on this particular Sunday, based upon these things back and forth, you were clearly annoyed with each other.
Yes, and I'd like to add, Your Honor, that she was late.
Well, 15 or 17 minutes late doesn't mean anything unless you had to be someplace, and then you can always be 15 minutes late. I'm not suggesting that that was a grown-up thing to do, to leave. If she said, I'm running a few minutes late, and if she, in fact, got there at 12:17.
Right, Your Honor, it sounds stupid now, but at the time it was a parade, and they blocked the street at 1, and if I'm not there, I don't see my family, we don't sit together, it's a lost day.
Okay, well then, you should have made arrangements for an earlier pickup and picked up your son earlier than 12 o'clock, picked him up at 10 o'clock in the morning, and then it would have been maybe better.
Right.
Also, Your Honor, we cross paths. Like, he drives past my house, and my route from my house to his house, we could have pulled over anywhere. We could have pulled over at a gas station or anywhere along that route. He could have picked him up, but he didn't want to. He wanted to be able to say that I was getting in his way.
When you finally got there, you brought the child to his house. Mm-hmm. What time was it?
I sent a text to him. He told me that He was on the highway, be on time next time at 12:19.
No, I have that here. What time
Right.
What time did the boy finally get to his father's?
At 7 p.m.
7 o'clock.
We tried to call him all day. He didn't answer his phone.
Now, I want you to tell me what happened at 7 o'clock.
So at 7 o'clock, I
pulled up in front of his house.
Pulled up in front of his house, went with my son to the door, knocked on the door. Mr. Knudsen opened the door. My son went in the house. I went in after him into the house, and I told him that I wasn't going to leave until he paid me the $200 that he agreed that he would pay me. He told me he would pay me the $200. And I said, I'm not going to leave until you pay me that $200. And he said, I'm not going to pay you. I said, okay, fine. He has a number of guitars sitting by the door. So not to steal a guitar, not to wreck a guitar, but to prove a point. There was a guitar right there. I put it on my shoulder. I said, fine, I'll take this guitar. So
you can't do that.
Judge Judy continues in a moment.
It wasn't my best day.
Just a second. Not only wasn't it your best day, but it was probably so miserable for your 9-year-old that day because you were annoyed all day, and clearly he didn't want to let you in the house. You sort of pushed your way through.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy. Joel Knudsen says ex-girlfriend Catherine Harrison damaged his guitar while dropping off her daycare expenses.
Okay. I want you to tell me what happened at 7 o'clock.
Mr. Knudsen opened the door. My son went in the house. I went in after him, and I told him that I wasn't going to leave until he paid me the $200 that he agreed that he would pay me. He told me he would pay me the $200. And he said, I'm not going to pay you. I said, okay, fine. There was a guitar right there. I put it on my shoulder. I said, fine, I'll take this guitar. So
you can't do that.
I know. It wasn't my best day.
Just a second. Wasn't your best? I got it. Not only wasn't it your best day, but it was probably so miserable for your 9-year-old that day.
Yes.
Because you were annoyed all day, and then he gets to his father's house, and the two of you have an argument, and clearly he didn't want to let you in the house. You sort of pushed your way through the door. You weren't leaving. Because that's what his case is about. He says that you broke the door, pushing your way through, and you damaged his guitar. He called the police, okay? And I'm sure he has a police report about that call because the police did, in fact, arrive. That's what the case is about. And you have a counterclaim for the $200.
I do.
Yeah. Okay. So, door. She came in. You blocked the door. You say she came in. She came in despite the fact that you told her not to. I'd like to see the damaged door.
Right. These are the two pictures taken of the door, the bent hinge and the doorknob.
There was no confrontation at the door. He tells me that I broke the door. This is the 5th time, apparently, that I've broken his door, which I'm not breaking doors.
I didn't ask you anything. You have to learn how to control yourself.
Sorry.
Do you have a receipt for the repair of this door?
I do.
I'd like to see it. Now, what happened with the guitar?
Well, what she said is pretty correct up to a point. She pushed her way in the, as she
I just want to know what happened with the guitar.
Well, what happened is, can I show you the guitar? That would be the easiest way to explain it. So, as you can see, this is kind of a flimsy case. There isn't much to it.
It's a soft case.
Yes. And so she grabbed the case, put it over her shoulder as she was going to take it, and I didn't want to touch her because obviously that would be bad. So I'd called the police, and luckily they showed up on time. And they were there so fast it was ridiculous. And so they asked her to put the guitar down. They asked her if she had permission to come in. She, of course, said no, she did not. And they asked if the guitar was hers. She said no. So they asked her to put it down. And when she went to put it down, what she did is she actually slammed the case against another case in this fashion. You can feel it better than you can see it, but I can point it out if you like. I don't know if you'll be able to see it from there, but right here is one of 3 cracks.
Can you get that for me?
And then there's also
Did you
one.
have it repaired?
Actually, that was kind of a crazy deal. Yes, I did.
You have a receipt for the repair.
Yes, and this was a little bit convoluted, Your Honor. I also, in addition to being a musician, I own a retail music store. So first I had one of my state One of my state-certified luthiers first attempted to repair it, and he realized it was beyond his repair, so we sent it to another dealer that prepares that brand under warranty. They couldn't fix it, so I have...
There's a crack in the guitar. Are you alleging that she caused this crack in the guitar, this long crack?
Yes. That was all caused from the front getting pushed.
This crack?
Yes.
I'm pointing to this one.
Yep, there's
this
three cracks. Yep.
Okay, got it.
He would have to somehow prove that. Yeah. I mean, the guitar was in a case.
You have to learn to control yourself. And you picked her. I mean, if she's a neurotic broad, you picked her, and you chose to make a baby with her. So what you did on that day when you brought your son to his house is inexcusable as a parent.
Judge Judy. Joel Knudsen is accusing ex-girlfriend Catherine Harrison of damaging his guitar during an argument.
Okay, there's a crack in the guitar. Are you alleging that she caused this crack in the guitar, this long crack?
Yes.
He would have to somehow prove that. Yeah. I mean, the guitar was in a case.
You have to learn to control yourself. Do you understand?
Yes, ma'am.
Your Honor, it did eventually. It went to one repair facility that's authorized to repair that. They couldn't fix it, so then it was shipped back to the manufacturer. I ended up losing the guitar for 5 months, and I make a good portion of my living with that. They repaired some of it, but they could not repair the top because it's an anniversary super rare guitar and has gold inlays.
Where did you get the guitar from, sir?
I bought it from a store in St. Cloud in 2005.
Do you recall how much you paid for it? I know a little bit about the cost of guitars.
$3,900.
Very expensive. Now I want you to tell me, Miss Harrison, there is a court order of support for $216 a month.
Yes, it's...
That he... I'm speaking.
Sorry.
That he pays to you. And there is a court order that he has 45% custody and you have 55% custody based upon time. Is that correct?
It doesn't say a percentage. We actually, by definition, we have joint physical custody and joint legal custody. There's no percentage.
Well, so you don't pay him support. He pays you. Pay you anything?
Because I have...
Just a second. Why should he pay you anything? I mean, if you share, you just told me you share custody and you share legal custody as well as physical custody. If you were working optimally, you would pay... When your son was with you, you would pay his expenses. When he was his father, his father pays his expenses. Right now, he's paying you court order $216 a month. I don't know what else you do other than this $20,000 that you report to the IRS. So I want you to tell me now, convince me that he agreed to pay beyond what he was already paying by court order to you.
So we had the conversation on the phone. This was in late May. I believe it was...
You called him.
I called him, and we needed to talk about money. The summer was coming. My son's in school during the year, and in the summer you need to make arrangements for an 8-year-old as to what they're going to do all day during the summer while I work, while he works. So the same preschool and child care program that he'd been to since he was 2 years old, they have a program for school-aged children.
Got it.
So it's expensive. It's over $500 a month. I said, I need you to help with this somehow. Can you pay half? He says, oh, no, blah, 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 I can't pay half. Okay, what can you pay? And he said, well, I suppose I could pay you $200. So that decision, if I knew he wasn't going to pay the $200, I would have made a different decision for that summer in terms of what I would have done for my child for care. He said he was going to pay the $200 for whatever reason. I believed him, and so I made the decision to enroll him in that.
Now, tell me what you recall of that conversation.
Yes, she did call me, and the conversation was about the $200, and the way I recollect the conversation was that if I could line up my child care with the same school, that it would make sense for me to help pay for it, but I ended up going somewhere else.
So what you're telling me is that you pay for child care when he's with you?
Only during the summer and only on Monday.
During the summer, but only Monday?
Correct.
So you have a limited responsibility?
Correct.
Do you recall, Mr. Knudsen, the amount of $200?
Yes, we did talk about that amount.
Okay. And did you indicate to her that I suppose I could come up with $200?
I told her I wanted to think about it.
No, I don't believe you, Mr. Knudsen. I don't believe that at all. Anyway, on your claim, I'm awarding you $2,145.
Your Honor,
for the guitar. I'm speaking. I'm deducting from that the $200 that I believe you agreed to pay her for child care, 1945. Your counterclaim is therefore dismissed. Judgment for the plaintiff in the amount of $1,945. And I'm telling you, Ms. Harrison, you got to control yourself, feel secure. Right now, you have a father who is both interested, involved, participates.
I'm sorry.
That's your problem.
I wish
That's
he
your
would be
problem.
involved.
Just a second. That's your problem.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by. Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Okay. Right now, you have a father who is both interested, involved, participates.
I'm sorry.
That's your problem.
It is a
You don't
problem.
say-
It is a big problem. It is a big
Liz,
problem.
You make it worse by not being able to control yourself in front of your child. You make his life worse. You picked him. Your son didn't pick him. You picked him, and you picked her. I mean, if she's a neurotic broad, you picked her, and you chose to make a baby with her. It's really so unfair of you because you caused this problem. You caused this problem.
Well,
if you needed an extra $200 and you don't work optimally because
It's
I'm
my
getting
own business and
because
I'm
I'm
growing
because
the
I'm
business.
not working optimally, and he's paying you support, and you share custody. So what you did on that day when you brought your son to his house is inexcusable as a parent. Inexcusable.
He does a number of things that are inexcusable.
Inexcusable.
Ma'am,
We're
the
done.
car's not even worth that much money.
Parties are excused and they step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
It's hard for me every single day.
She's
Taking care of our son. He's never told me thank you. He's never said, what can I do to help?
She really is a decent woman, and she is overall a good parent.
Either leave me alone and let me do what I need to do to take care of our child, or that he could cooperate, be a normal person.
Hands off the guitars.
Do you have a license to carry a firearm?
Yes, Your Honor.
A roommate relationship reaches a flashpoint.
He starts cursing at me, yelling at me, threatening me.
There's no rational reason why he would start to curse at you.
Then, was he under the gun?
Mr. Yomtov says, you don't talk to my girlfriend. I'm going to kill you. He points it at my face to the point where I can see down the barrel, and he pulled the trigger.
Judge Judy. To enter the courtroom of Judge Judith Scheindlin. This is Judge Judy. Adam Yomtov is suing his former roommate, Jeff Kester, for damages resulting from a false arrest.
Order. All rise. Now, it's case number 441 on the calendar, the matter of Yomtov versus Kester.
Thank you.
You're welcome, Judge. Parties have been sworn in. You may be seated.
You were roommates for a period of time, and it is your claim, Mr. Yomtov, that the defendant had you falsely arrested for threatening him with a gun.
Correct, Your Honor.
You want $5,000 for the false arrest. Mr. Koster has a counterclaim because he said you did, in fact, threaten him with a gun, and he's been traumatized since. Now, what I gather, the problem that the two of you began to have was about a car that who wanted to purchase?
Mr. Koster.
You wanted to purchase.
I had purchased, but the gun issue was the car.
Shh. You purchased a car.
Correct.
When did you purchase the car?
August of 2016.
And you got it through somebody that Mr. Yomtov put you together with.
Correct.
And Mr. Yomtov said, well, because he made the connection, he should have gotten a commission of $250.
Correct, Your Honor.
That, in August, started the difficulty between the two of you because he didn't give you the $250.
Correct, Your Honor.
So then you stopped talking to each other. Now, according to what I've read, there came a time subsequent to August of this year that you were sitting in the living room with your girlfriend?
No, we weren't in the living room.
Where were you?
Kitchen. I was in the kitchen. My girlfriend was in the room taking a nap after work.
Okay. Now, I want you to tell me what happened on this date when the police were called to the house, which would be...
September 1st?
Yes. He says that on that date, you were there with your girlfriend, and he said hi to her. That's what I'm reading, correct?
That's good.
And you said to him, don't talk to my girlfriend, I'll kill you.
False. That's a lie.
Okay.
The defendant claimed that I pulled my firearm from my left pocket, which clearly I'm a righty.
Okay.
He claimed that I...
Do you have a license to carry a firearm?
Yes, Your Honor. I do security, armed security.
Had you ever shown the defendant at any time that you were roommates, had you ever shown him, displayed to him your gun? No, don't look over there.
No.
Look over here.
Occasionally, after my work, I used to come home with full uniform with my firearm on my right wrist. So he noticed
No, don't have a view into what's in his mind. I asked you whether you ever showed him your firearm.
No, Your Honor.
So on this date, which was September 1st, which was just shortly after this kerfuffle over the $250 commission.
It was a little longer than that. It was about roughly 2 months.
Well, then it wouldn't have been in August that he bought the car.
I'm not certain actually about the date of when he purchased the car.
Can I see the police report?
I do not. The police station, they advised.
Shh. Well, your release date was September 2nd.
Yes.
And your arrest date was September 1st.
Correct.
Okay, and you have no police report.
Did
they confiscate your gun when they arrested you?
Yes, Your Honor.
Okay. So I want you to tell me your version of what happened on September 1st. And then he's going to tell me his version of what happened on September 1st.
On September 1st, it was bright and early. Me and him, obviously, as usual, we kind of go back off on it.
No. I want you to tell me on September 1st what
Okay.
happened. Not what you usually do.
No, that's exactly how it all is. Me and him, obviously, went back at it cursing.
No, I don't understand what you meant, back at it.
We're cursing and...
What were you cursing at?
The defendant, as it was both ways.
No. You're not following me, sir. I woke up in the morning on September 1st. My girlfriend was sleeping. I went out into the kitchen. The defendant was in the kitchen. I said to him, he said to me. I said to him, he said to me. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. Okay. Now let's go.
On September 1st, I was in the kitchen. My girlfriend just returned from work. She went into the room. She went to take a nap. I was in the kitchen preparing a meal. The defendant came out of his room. He started cursing at me.
No. I don't want you to tell me. He came out of his room.
Okay.
And he came into the kitchen where you were.
Correct.
And what did he say? No, don't think. What did he say?
He starts cursing at me, yelling at me, threatening me.
I don't believe you, sir. I don't believe you. I'm going to tell you why.
Why?
Because you're the one who says that he owes you money. He doesn't say you owe him money. Why would he start cursing at you? Do you understand what I'm saying to you?
Yes, Your Honor.
If something doesn't make sense, it's not true. He has no claim that you owe him money. You believe that he owes you money for something that you didn't give him.
Okay.
So I don't understand. There's no rational reason why he would start. Don't tell me what you advised.
Okay.
You're in the kitchen.
I saw him. I told him if he can...
No, I saw him. I told him what?
I told him to please stop using my utensils and my kitchenware, considering I noticed him using them and not washing them, and then I have to do everything after him. And not to mention, I saw that he was damaging my property. That's when he starts going off at me, telling me if you want...
So you walk in.
Yes.
And you're in the kitchen already.
Correct.
What are you doing in the kitchen?
Preparing a meal.
And when he came into the kitchen.
Correct.
And exactly what happened when he walked into the kitchen. Now he's walked into the kitchen. But you have to remember, I have a crystal ball. He walks into the kitchen. The first thing that you say to him when you saw him was, don't use the utensils in here.
Correct.
He hasn't used the utensils.
And then he starts
yelling. Just a second. He hasn't used the utensils.
Yes, he has.
No, not according to you. He walked into the kitchen. I said, what happened when you saw him? You said, first thing I said to him, don't use any kitchen utensils.
He was using them days before and every time. For the past week, for that same week.
All right, let's go.
Okay.
Let's go. Keep it going.
I told him to stop using it. He starts yelling at me, telling me if you don't want me to using your stuff, take everything in your room and keep it there, and then use it whenever you want, when it's all in your room. Now, Your Honor, I did have a small room.
Listen to me. And what happened in the kitchen?
And I told him, please keep your distance from my girlfriend, because it was kind of bothering me, because he was always trying to cook dinner for her and spoil her and stuff like that, which kind of bothered me. And then I told him, stop using my stuff, or if you use them, clean up after yourself. He starts yelling, going off at me, telling me, if you want me to not to use him, taking everything into your room and stuff like that. And then that's when he grabbed the kitchen knife. He took 2 steps towards me. I took 2 steps back, and I grabbed the kitchen knife also just to protect myself. That was around 5:45. Then he walks out of the house. He apparently had some AA meetings that he had to go to. And my girlfriend opened the door, and she yanked me in. Apparently, we woke her up from the yelling. Later that night, Jeff comes back home around 10 o'clock and calls the police and says that instead of me picking up a knife, I picked up a firearm, which he clearly noticed me walk into the house a couple times with. The cops come. They literally did not know what to do. It was a he said, she said kind of case to them. They called their superior. The superior...
Don't tell me what they arrested you.
Yeah, clearly, because I had my firearm at the house.
Good. You want to tell me what happened in the kitchen?
Yes, ma'am. At 5:45, I was in my bedroom.
In the morning?
5:45 in the evening.
In the evening.
I have school at 6:10, college, night classes.
5:45, you're in your room.
And I opened the door. I went to walk out to go to school. I had my books in one forward toward the left-hand door to go downstairs. Both Mr. Yomtov and Wendy were in the kitchen cooking.
Not true.
I had said to Wendy, good evening, I'm off to school. I was not in the kitchen. I was within 2 feet of my bedroom door. Mr. Yomtov says, you don't talk to my girlfriend, I'm going to kill you, and proceeds to pull out a gun out of his left-hand pocket. He takes 1 step forward, and now he's about 6 feet from me. He points it at my face to the point where I can see down the barrel. He had the slide back because...
He had the slide back, not because.
I could see the shine. That's why I told the police the gun had a chrome end.
Go ahead.
And he pulled the trigger. Once he did that, it happened very fast. Wendy was standing behind him in the kitchen. She bails into the bedroom. She just jumps into the bedroom.
Not true.
He laughs at me with, like he got me, a snicker, and then jumps into the bedroom and slams the door and leaves me standing there.
Got it.
Not true, Your Honor.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And later today...
Let's say he was on his cell phone, talking to Mars. You would acknowledge, Mr. Gutierrez, that if you were going straight, his bike wouldn't have hit you. Was there a sign that said no right turn?
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Adam Yomtov says former roommate Jeff Kester had him falsely arrested for making threats. Jeff is countersuing for emotional distress.
Go ahead.
He proceeds to pull out a gun, and he pulled the trigger. Once he did that, it happened very fast.
Not true.
He laughs at me with, like he got me, a snicker, and then jumps into the bedroom and slams the door and leaves me standing there.
Got it.
Not true, Your
Sure.
Honor.
Absolutely true. You deserve to get arrested. DA decided not to prosecute it because she covered for you. That's what happened. Your case is dismissed. Judgment on the counterclaim, $1,500. We're done. Thank you.
Your Honor,
We are done.
Parties are excused. You may step out.
The defendant clearly accused me of something, false accusation.
I feel he's a danger to the community.
Cost me money, a lawyer, attorney, move out, bail bond.
He has banished that gun in other situations.
Headaches, stress, frustration, and I lost a lot of time and money.
I'm in my 5th month of therapy.
In doing so from his false accusation.
Sleeping issues, anxiety, that...
Buy a house and, you know, avoid people like that kind of...
She figured out right on the nail exactly what happened as fast as she did.
And now, the next case.
All parties in the matter of Gutierrez versus Smith. Step forward.
Motorist Matthew Gutierrez is suing bicyclist Jeffrey Smith for crashing into his car.
Mr. Gutierrez, you were driving your car on a street that had a bicycle lane. You were aware that there was a bicycle lane as you were driving. It is your claim that you made a right turn from the right turn lane and the defendant hit your car while traveling on his bicycle.
There was no way to be able to get into the right turn lane because there was construction going on at the time.
Well, that's what he says. He says that there was no right turn lane, and he says that there was actually a sign that said no right turn.
Yes, Your Honor.
Just your case is that Mr. Smith, while on his bicycle, ran into your car while you were making a right turn. And the question is, was there a sign that said no right turn because of the construction that was going on? That would be important, would it not? Now, the accident happened when?
It was Saturday, March 5th.
The rules of the road for bicyclists are you have the same rules as
vehicles when I'm on the road.
Vehicles. And let us assume, just for argument's sake, on March 5th, that there's no construction lane on the right, so that, according to you, the car in the right lane could, in fact, make a right turn. Would it require you to stop?
No, because there's clearance between the right turn lane and the straight vehicle lane, whereby I could pass to the left of a right turning vehicle in parallel with vehicles going straight.
Well, you could, unless you were side by side to the car. Then there wouldn't be a signal that you could see.
That'd be correct.
So my question is, are you supposed to stop at an intersection? Is that intersection controlled by a light?
It is.
It is. So you both had a green light?
Yes.
So, Mr. Gutierrez, the case really hinges on one thing. Was there a sign that said no right turn?
There was a sign that's not a city ordinance sign.
Just a second. I don't care whether it's a city ordinance sign. Is there a sign that says no right turn?
Yes, when there's construction workers.
Do you have the sign?
I have pictures, yes.
Sure.
So this is the top, and the top three have decent images.
There's a sign that says no right turn.
Exactly.
So what were you doing?
He continues in a moment.
You made an illegal right turn, which caused the accident.
Can I respectfully ask you to just watch the video briefly?
Listen, I love people who are respectful, and I love to look at videos. It allows me to clear my head.
Real cases, real people. Judge Judy.
Motorist Matthew Gutierrez says bicyclist Jeffrey Smith is at fault for an accident on the road.
There's a sign that says no right turn.
Exactly.
So what were you doing making a right turn?
The sign itself is there so that when there's construction workers, for their
Was this
safety.
sign, just a second. My only question to you is, was this sign up on the day of the accident?
Yes, you're right.
Then you can't make a right turn.
With respect, I'd like to defer on that. There were vehicles making that right turn because there was no construction workers at the time.
Just a second.
They also...
It doesn't say here no right turn when there are construction workers, when little men are working. It doesn't say that. It just says no right turn.
Right, Your Honor. But at that point, when other vehicles were going through, they did not close off that section of the street, so it was not closed off. Vehicles were making that right turn gingerly, making sure you do it safely, since there were no workers
Just a
at the
minute.
time.
Nor is this, so then it says proceed with caution. If you stop and you want to make a right turn, you can make a right turn if there are no little men working. Look, Mr. Gutierrez, this sign says no right turn. You're not supposed to make a right turn. So that the bicyclist going straight and seeing this sign that says no right turn need not be cautious of you, because you are not permitted to make the right turn. You have to go straight. And you would acknowledge, Mr. Gutierrez, that if you were going straight, his bike wouldn't have hit you. Right?
Correct.
So if
But
you
not
followed the
necessarily.
rule, this rule, and didn't make a right turn, you wouldn't have had an accident.
Your Honor, there's a situation here. I could have been going straight forward, but at that point he could have hit me, because at the time of the impact, when I got out to see if he was okay, he was picking up his bicycle and his cell phone. He was very forthcoming. He told me at that time, oh, well, I'm sorry, I hit your car. I shouldn't have been on my phone. I wasn't paying attention. I was like, okay. So at that point...
Mr. Gutierrez, it's very simple, sir. Let's say he was on his cell phone. Let's say he was talking to Mars.
Okay.
On his cell phone. You broke the law by making a right turn. If there was a ticketed you for making a right turn, you therefore cannot come to court with dirty hands and say, you know what? There were other people making a right turn too. And if he hadn't been on his phone, he would have seen that I was going to make an illegal right turn, and therefore he wouldn't have hit me. Mr. Gutierrez, you have no case.
But, Your Honor, isn't it illegal for someone to not yield to a vehicle in front of them? I got hit in the rear. I got hit from behind.
You made an illegal right turn, which caused the accident.
Can I respectfully ask you to just watch the video briefly?
Listen, I love people who are respectful, and I love to look at videos. It allows me to clear my head.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. Closed captioning sponsored by... Want justice? Go to judgejudy.com. Like us on Facebook and follow us on Twitter.
Go.
Thank you, Your Honor. Oh, there you go. Would you like me to describe a little bit
No.
of it? No? Okay.
This sign says it, you see. He doesn't have to say anything. It just says no right turn.
It's not a city ordinance, and there were no workers, Your Honor. They even removed the
Mr.
crowd.
Gutierrez, you're not paying attention. But I'll look at your video.
Sure. At the corner, they moved the sidewalk closed inside so people can walk down the sidewalk, because when there are construction workers there, they also don't want people walking down the sidewalk. That was removed. There was no work going on. I made the right turn just like this gentleman. When I got hit, I already had made my turn for the most part, and that's where he hit me. So I guess, you know, it would be as to say, okay, well, if someone's parked on the wrong side of the road,
Your case is
should you
dismissed,
hit them?
Mr. Gutierrez, so you shouldn't have made a right turn. We're done here.
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you.
You may step out.
Judge Judy continues in a moment. And on the next Judge Judy.
Initially, I did hit him, and I was full adrenaline. I mean, I was biking.
I didn't feel it was illegal because there were no construction workers there.
15 miles an hour and slowed down and barely avoided, you know, a more severe impact.
For you to be following, like, cautiously because there's workers present.
My phone fell out of my pocket, but I was not doing that. I was not talking on it during the accident.
Just make sure you're following the rules.
I mean, he didn't get a citation or his insurance jacked up, so things went fairly well for him, all things considered.
And don't make a right.